40. Nephew, Tismail, we got Veggie Food Lovers, and Daniel Simon. Shout out to Machiavelli, the OG, Rogelio, Concepcion, Kurt D, Bora, 562, and Siesta, 44. 2 New York cents. Shout out to Robert Lewis, and yes, Chef, no. Ahmed's in the house. So is Buffalo Freaking Soldier, Yummy Thai Food, as I mentioned. Tilster, Jay Coingy, Eliza, Loudwork. Shout out to Evan and Jordan Fisher. One more here. Oh, we're going to say what's up to Wicked, Chunky, Slayin' Stocks. I love that name. Nice. That is a mouthful there. Good morning.
Don't need some chunky stocks. I'm down to slay.
Right.
You know what I mean? How are you doing, man? How's your morning? How's everything?
Everything is good. Oh, you know, just loaded up some of these small caps. Yeah. Got a sesh at the gym, super quick. Nice. Right back now.
What was the day today?
We were doing hammies with some core. So a little bit of rector spinae group, a little bit of you know. Nice. Abdominals, we're doing it 25. Yeah. And we're looking at high ho, hopefully up into frickin' intraday highs we go. This one is up 116%. I'm working into this one, having punched in at 88s. I'm looking for a DCA here at 77s and then 69. So this one for the moment is below the 10 EMA on the 5, but I'm looking for the higher lows on HO to hold. So the reason I've got a dip trade at 77s to get the money fill in between the 10 and the 20 moving average on the 5, and then why I have another dip trade planned, of course, at 69 is to front run what I perceive to be the volume weighted average price. If it loses that, I'm out. I'm not going to be DCAing into the $1.50, hoping, pleading with the stock to come back up. We're going to basically go on technicals. If it rides trend, we're going to ride with it, and then we're going to see what this one has to offer. I've got a lot more in the hopper here on the side with small cap gappers, but tell the people what you're looking at.
I mean, I want to start off with saying what's up, everybody, and yeah, no, small caps, obviously, you know, holiday trading, small caps are popping. I looked at my scanner this morning and I was just like 4 or 5 in the pre-market. Just like if you wake up at 4 a.m. around this time, like there is straight bangers. You know what I mean? So like you know, definitely early bird gets the worm during the holiday season, and it kind of makes sense. Everyone's kind of home. You know, people are trading. They exactly. You know, they're not at work. So maybe you get some more liquidity. Maybe you get some more volume into some of those small caps, and you definitely see that coming into fruition if you are up and early and you got some of those scanners on. So yeah, lots of opportunity in this market in that space for sure. But this morning, guys, I took a little bit of you know. I wouldn't say a little bit of a cut, like pretty much break even on this. But if you asked me this morning, funny enough, I was sitting with Jose and I was just like, yeah, I'm trading this, and I think to myself, I have a little bit of bias and I don't really like it. If you asked me what price did you want to short Novo today, my answer was yes. I shorted every price.
Didn't matter the price.
I was like, I don't care what price. I'm shorting everything today because this is a little, you know what I mean? Like, but here's the thing, man. Like, I had it off of the open, slammed down, very nice. 52 holds. This consolidation is nice here. I'm keeping it light, keeping it well. You know, there's other participants I see as well. People love to take the back through open, and guess what? When 5260s gets slapped, I see the push into the back through open. I'm like, all right, those players are here as well. Hello, how's it going? Like, let's see how far they take it. Yeah, sure, that goes up about 30 pennies right there in the 53s. But guess what? Backside comes in. Oh, slamma-jamma, I'm coming right back in.
Slamming the backside?
Of course, always. What do you mean? That's what we're here for. Anyways, the backside comes in, slap it back in, back through open once again. Hello, they're gone again. Here's my mistake though. I take it all the way from 53s, all the way back down to 52s. I got a little bit of size. I'm like, all right, now I'm convinced. I have conviction and I have a little bit of a strong bias. That's an issue. Because I'm like, I slapped 52s. This is going through day lows at 5170s. Doesn't come in. There was actually a strong bid. I think it was over maybe I forget what it was. There was like a 10. There was maybe 100,000 shares, but a lot of size getting in on the bid at 52s, and then that turns right away. That failed to follow through. I don't normally take the breakdown like that on 52s, but this entry definitely like solidified my bias for going through the day low, and I held it back to VWAP, and I'm like, okay, this is not really going anywhere too much right now. Take a little bit of a chop for break even. I get back in, give it back to VWAP because I'm like, this is just going to orbit around step away from the desk to get ready, comes all the way back down to 52s. Guess what? We hold 52s again. So as of right now, 52 held bid on Novo Nordisk. Let's see if we can cut through that a little bit here. But, you know, other than that, we groovy.
I like it, sir. I like you made me chuckle already, and as well as I think 99% of the people on the stream. So I'm already pleased that you're around, man. All right, here's what we're looking at, Fabian. AFJK, a monster, 89% in the Ville of Green, and it's also up 95% since the bell rung, meaning that it opened up the pre-market in negative territory. But alas, it is now halted down. Halt level 60, 55. Don't have the halt time. It's not on a trading screen, but it is losing the moving averages as well as my key indicators in a frickin' hurry. The volume, weighted average price, 67.50 or thereabouts. 10 EMA on the 5, 60.85. It is halted below that at 60.55. So it's already lost the previous halt level, the up halt level, which is at 62.60. As you know, I look at these intraday halt levels as areas of support and resistance, at least in the intraday time frame. So that's what I'm looking at now. We'll have to see if this one catches a bid or what its situation is. ASTI, also a multiple halter to the upside, 50% in Greenville, 740 high, but it is also losing it in a hurry with a bunch of lower highs with a topping tail candle into that high, and now we're below the volume weighted average price, which is currently at about 6 1/5, so 620. It's trading below the 10 EMA, it's trading below VWAP. This one might lose its spot on the side chart in a hurry. HIHO, this is the one I'm involved in right now. Not technically, I am out of the money, but I'm looking at getting more in. Now, I don't think it dipped down. It didn't fill me. It didn't fill me. So I was waiting at 77. I was waiting at 69, neither of which filled despite these bottoming tail candles both breaching the 10 EMA on the 5, trying their darndest now to retrace above the 10 EMA and close above them. HIHO up 125%, the leading gapper in the market at the moment. VUZI, here we go again. This one is going to take out the high of the day momentarily. It's 1 penny off the high of the day, 356 high. It's showing 55s. Umpteen amount of tests of the 10 EMA on the 5, none of which have breached. So this one has shown you a lot of respect for these moving averages, and there's the quick touch of the high of the day, but yet to breach it. VUZI up 22 1/3, certainly in focus for me. RZLT, also big breakout there right at 935, did bub kiss in the pre, but this is a multi-day runner. Take a gander at what it did yesterday, 930 as well. It caught a bid, and it looks like the buy program shut off at 1130. You never really know when they're going to shut off, 11, 1130. They typically don't run into the afternoon, or I mean into lunch. So anyway, the buy program is back right at 930. There's a whole bunch of market on open orders, and this thing has a 243 high. Trading right around the 10 EMA at 2 1/3. This one's going to have to put in some higher highs for me to get involved. UAMY also putting in a great chart pattern here. Also the breakout coming at 930. Barely did anything in the pre, but this is another multiple day runner, almost looking identical to RZLT in the sense that in the sense that it caught a bid right at 930 on both days, yesterday and this morning. This one is trading at the volume weighted average price, but it's giving me hints here of a head and shoulders pattern. I need to see higher highs. Ideally, it prints above that 615 area top, if not 620. So that one will be also in focus. HYMC, a bit more of expensive of a name and not much in the way of a notional move. We're talking about $3 on a $28 name. $27.99 high, trading at $27.11 now. There does seem to be support at that 27 area, so that could be an interesting pickup. Look at the topping tail candles that all breached 27. Very few of them actually closed above it. The only one that was able to close above it initially was that implied balance pop right at 930. That's the implied balance high that takes us to 27.42. It's trying to hold above 27, which I also like, not just to the psychological support, but because the 10 EMA on the 5 is also hanging out there. So those are the ones I'm looking at right now. Oh, but looks like I did get that ad on HIHO. Let's see if this one holds above VWAP. I have an 83 cost basis showing me 79s.
Yes, sir. So that 52, while I was talking, it finally came in. I'm like, all right, well, I don't have 52.40s here. That was nice. That was a nice VWAP hold. Again, kind of wasn't there for this 52 half test as well. It's coming back up through 52. Again, this is where buyers were in the morning. This is where buyers were once again around 10 o'clock. And I was talking to a couple of people, and I'm like, yeah, sellers started to get a little absorbed here around, like, I would say after like 10:10. I was like, all right, the probability of this kind of coming in as of like right away right now, not very high. So I kind of lightened up a little bit, lightened the load, and then let it kind of do its thing until it shows me that, yeah, sellers are back in charge. If I have strong conviction that bigger picture, short term, this is mispriced, and I want to sell every price in the opening range, then I do have to give it some time, because again, the idea can be right. The timing doesn't have to be, you know what I mean? Unless and until it actually starts to show you that it's going in your direction and participants are on your side, then and only then am I trying to get as aggressive as I can here. So a little light here through 52s, and I'm chasing through the lows once again. I don't want to necessarily do that with aggressive, any sort of aggressive sizing, but guess what? The market, especially the Nasdaq here, this is where sellers were before, and we're coming right back up into here. So maybe sellers are here once again. So I'm watching that as well. Take a look at NVIDIA. This is a 15-minute chart on NVIDIA. This is straight line up. Holds VWAP. Sure, we violated a little bit, but catch a bit of a bounce off of pre-market highs as well as prior day consolidation highs as well, in and around 183. 183.80s here, 184s-ish, and yeah, straight off to the races. Nice squeeze. Well, I don't know about a squeeze, but a straight bid all the way up to 186s, 187s coming in now on the horizon for NVIDIA. Another name I was looking at was Amazon. I know you guys think I love Amazon, and guess what? You're right, I do. This consolidation breakout, I think, was very much the trade this morning. I was watching this yesterday. Supply comes in right off of the open here, 229 halves. Once again, into the close, nice little buy imbalance, gets slapped right back in to the close there. It comes right into 228 40s, 228 halves roughly. But take a look at where that supply slaps right back in. It's at the 229 halves. Look at it here on the prior day, Friday, getting slapped right into 229s. Once again, on Thursday, guess what? What more do you need to see? That this is a little bit of a consolidation range, and whenever we get to the high of this range, we keep getting sold off. But today was distinctly different, as the market was really strong, and then I was watching Amazon as well. I was like, maybe we get that selling once again. I didn't take a single fill. You know why?
Why?
Because buyers were very dominant and the tape was very, very obvious. But you know what? Maybe in that moment I should be flipping for the long, but I have a little bit of a bias. That's what I said earlier. For the reversion, and I'm like, all right, this breakout is definitely very high probability, so I don't want to touch it just yet. I look away. I'm getting busy with Novo, and guess what? It does eventually come in here, but all the way up at 232. So that breakout was the trade here on Amazon, coming back into VWAP as of right now. So a little bit of a sideways consolidation, to say the least. Tesla was another one, another fan favorite here, but choppy mess is Tesla on the day today. So nothing really happening there. But here's one that I had on the back burner. Man.
Okay. I
was just like, you know what really deterred me away from this one? Low volume coming into the open. Guess what? Yesterday, I noticed this. I actually got into a little bit of a short into VWAP. Here, it continues to go. There was a very obvious seller who sold all the way into the close on Starbucks, right? And I was like, they're going to come back for a refill this morning. Guess what? He almost spit out his coffee. You know what I mean? But take a look at this. 80K in the pre-market, dude. It's doing crumbles for action. Guess what? Sellers step right back in off of the open, and oh my God, that thing got slapped all the way down for another 2.5% move to the downside. So a big mistrade on my part was the Starbucks continuation. So I only had 4 tickers this morning on watch. Novo was one of them. Starbucks was number 2. And then I also had natural gas futures, which were pretty strong. But again, commodities kind of strong. I saw copper at all-time highs. Gold is pushing highs. Silver's pushing the bid as well. So yeah, commodities catching a little bit of a bid in this kind of environment. So it makes sense. I did have eyes on that. But Nike was the one, and I have not looked at it. So let's take a look at it together. Okay. So and it didn't just do it. So kind of a similar action there, but you can see here, distinctly different. The seller wasn't as aggressive. The selling wasn't as aggressive. You can see let's compare both Nike and Starbucks here. You know what? I don't like the fact that you know, Novo's kind of bidding right back up. I know I said I don't have that much, but I'm just going to tap out of it right here because I'm not even watching it that much. I don't want to let it go to 52 halves where I did originally have my stop. I was going to chop 52s, and 52s were where buyers were before. I'm going to kind of respect that because we did pull back in, but if we're going to pop back up, you know what? Where's the next trade? That's what I'm asking. So right here. So take a look at this action here. Kind of, it is very strongly sold into the close here, but distinctly different from that of Starbucks. Take a look at this. That's a grinding seller. There's definitely a little bit of a sell algo, sell program, whatever you want to call it, that's sitting on the ask on Starbucks and maybe even hitting into the bid periodically as we go down. I was watching the tape a little bit. So you can see here, distinctly different, sold off into the end of the day. Yes, you can be like, okay, well, you know, similar patterns, but Nike was not that way. We did have a little bit of a chop. We had the strong bid that comes into the close. We get sold off again, but choppy sell off. So that's a little bit of a nuance that I'm kind of thinking I should, you know, journal, note down, and take forward. You can see here kind of a choppy mess coming into the open here on Nike, holding the bid, holding this end of day range. So those were the only four things. Let's take a look at natural gas here. That's Henry Hub, our boy Henry. Henry Hub, natural gas futures. I know this data is going to be a little bit delayed here, but we can take a look at potentially UNQ.
I got it live if you want it. Yeah,
so
let's load it up.
Yeah, so we did get a bit of a bid in the pre-market. That got sold off, and then now we're stepping up higher a little bit here.
The continuous contract or the January contract?
We'll just do the continuous for now. Yeah. We'll see how that's doing.
What time frame do you want?
Let's just go on a 3-minute because
3 minute?
we're trying to
look
at it intraday. Okay, so yeah, that's roughly around where I have it here. Yeah, so you can see a little bit sideways action, but the bid is coming in off of VWAP. So the buyers are maybe a little bit of a continuation from yesterday was what I was looking for because this was a puke. If you look at this action right here, if you come to my screen, yesterday you see a 7% drop from the pre-market session going into the open. For about 2.5 hours, we sold off on increasing volume and then bid back up. Beautiful, beautiful 50% reversion, roughly, of that down leg. And we got a little bit more in the pre-market. So I was like, all right, if we're going to reclaim where these sellers came in yesterday, I'm looking for a little bit of a push. Sure, it's not as clean. And some of the vehicles that I was looking at potentially to see this similar move was UNG. Sure, UNG is not doing any sort of crazy volume just yet. Only about 6 million shares traded, but the average volume is 13 million. So, you know, by the end of the day, I'm sure it'll do a little bit of the average and then some because you look at this. Yeah, relative volume on the day got 0.86 as of right now, so nothing too crazy. But the pre-market was definitely doing some relative volume, 7 times, Sharif, in the pre-market session. Sure, it's a little bit of a crumble, but doing more than average, more than usual does get me interested. This was a bit of a mismove, but yeah, those were the only stocks I was watching on a day like today. Now, NVIDIA, sure, one can say that if you're watching these top stocks, you're sure there's going to be price action trades that definitely come into play. Take a look at this. Yesterday, we had a bit of a consolidation day after a gap up, so I'm watching the range here of NVIDIA. Look at that, kind of comes into the low for yesterday's range, can't really drop down, and then buying just comes in very aggressively. Sure, it's a little difficult to get back in here, but you're like, okay, buyers are definitely here, and we take it to the top of the range, we pull back onto VWAP, you don't even have to get involved on VWAP. Take a look at this, morning session highs coming in just shy of 185s, and that holds 185s like a champ here in this consolidation for about 15 minutes. And then we're off to the races, 187.28's coming in right now on NVIDIA. So that's a bit of a miss for me in terms of price action trading. When you say some things just fall into your lap, this is one of the trades that definitely would have if you were watching it closely, the NVIDIA long through 185s. Even the hold, the sustain, the above high opening range highs, high a day as well. That was really nice as well. But let me know in the chat, what are you guys trading?
Definitely.
I want to know, where's the next trade? Because I'm sitting on my hands. It's holiday trading.
I think that's a question I'm going to have to ask along with you. I don't usually ask that.
Yes.
Usually there's a bunch of small cap gappers that, you know,
Show me what you're looking at.
Well, brother, I'm in 3 trades, but they are super slow. But I got to remind everybody, thank you, Fabian, for this. If you're not getting into the chat, guys, and voting for your favorite tickers every day by throwing in that $, it's got to be preceded by that $, to register. Shout out to Fabian. You're not going to get your stock on the afternoon rundown. Oftentimes, we're always told, Sharif, this was doing a whole bunch of volume. It had fantastic price action. Why the hell is it not on the afternoon rundown? Well, there's a simple answer for that. Because it didn't make the list. So you're gonna have to get into the chat, make some friends if you're a loner, and get them voting your way, right? Otherwise, you know, you're only gonna get one vote. So get into the chat now and please vote. Thank you very much, guys. We do appreciate it. And of course, I'm joking and exaggerating for effect about being a loner, myself included. Here we go. So HIHO, we've got a couple of prints on this one. It's not exactly showing me what I want. Okay, it's still putting in lower highs. It's still above the technicals that I like, which is the 170 breakout. So I'm going to continue to hold and average into pre-planned levels. All right, now we get a little price spike up. We're going to take some out here. Okay, so HIHO, not exactly going as planned, but not going against me either, and we're taking some profits on it. UAMY we're also taking some profits on this one for beak wetters so far, but again, this one not really going as planned either. We're getting higher lows, but we're getting a whole bunch of resistance into that $1/5 of a dollar. That doesn't really surprise me because we didn't spend all that much time above a $1/5 of a dollar, and when you view it on the 5-minute time frame, the prints that we have above there, some of them, I want to say, if not most of them, are topping tail candles. That immediately, to me, tells me that aggressive selling and or profits or short selling or profit taking is taking place at that level. Now, that doesn't mean we can't, you know, pass through those sellers and or profit takers at a later time, but it is something that I need to be alive to. Because if I keep saying, well, why is it not moving past $6.20? I've got my reason. I may just not be happy about the reason. So that's one. Two, VUZI. Also continuing to hold the 10 EMA on the 5. We've got a couple, or sorry, not even a couple. We don't even have any profits on this one. Am I in the money or out of the money? No, still waiting for the first print to come in at 54. It's been up to 54. It just doesn't cross, so I don't get the print. So we're gonna pack our patience on all those. So HIHO, really the only one that's concerning me because of the lower highs. I can't say that that one is continuing with the trend. It's the wrong trend. It's lower highs and lower lows, but it's still above my technical areas. So that's why I stay in the trade. VUZI and UAMY are both riding trends of higher lows. So that one, I don't want to say I'm not concerned about, but I'm less concerned about. So that is my look. Those are the three that I'm involved in. But always, guys, as always, if there are small cap gappers or gappers that are making moves that I don't have eyes on, that I haven't mentioned, that weren't on my side charts, please tag me so that I see that red rectangle on my chat. Otherwise, I could miss it by accident. And let me know exactly what you guys are looking for here. I'm seeing this ticker called Lion. Yeah, I know, right? It's immediately attractive. LION, it's not up big, 9 1/3, but it's got a good looking chart pattern. So it just earned its way onto the side chart, and we're taking off that hot garbage STEC. STEC, that just lost its spot. Commodity King says Marvell. Brother, I don't trade large caps, but I do like Marvell. I like it because of custom ASICs. I've made that point very clear. Pardon me?
Marvelous.
It's marvelous, right? I love that. It's always gave me that vibe, MRVL. Like you can't think anything different.
Yes.
It's trading at highs, by the way. Shout out to Commodity King. Outlaw Trader telling me to look at Sun, SUNN he means. SUNN. There's no volume on that, brother. I can't even get the volume, so illiquid is this one. So that one I'm gonna have to, okay, I think I'm typing the wrong one, SUNN. I don't have a Sun, brother. The only one that I have there is on a different exchange, and I don't think that's the one that you're talking about. Let me know again, Outlaw Trader. Pardon me. 2 New York says, please look at KYTX. Looking, KYTX, let's have a look at that one. Not bad. Okay, let's bring in the side chart. Let's have a little bit of a discussion on KYTX here, because now we're looking at a bit of a pattern. Kyverna Therapeutics, KYTX, that's what it is, $500 million market cap and a good looker, 8%, not rocketing up, but there you go. You get the higher highs, you get the higher lows. It's not exactly the most liquid stock, a little bit less than 1 million shares traded on the day, but it is an $8 name, 938,000 shares. We're talking about KYTX for those trying to follow along. I'm sorry, not throw on that ticker. There you go. Yeah, I could be persuaded, certainly get into this if the volume's a bit more, but just having a cursory look at it here, you can automatically tell 2 things. One, the majority of the prints, and by majority, I mean 80% and over, are respecting, for the moment, the 10 exponential moving average on the 5, which will always be the green solid lines on my chart. It looks, though, that the money fills and the deeper areas of the retracements on this one are coming into the 20 EMA on the 5, and that pleases me greatly, because you're looking for that riding of trend to hold off the 10, and then when you get a bit of a deeper retracement and the shorts are taking profit, you get into the 20. So that's one observation. The other one is I could be looking at confirmation bias here with respect to the 20, which is the yellow line. Why do I say that? Because we know that this topping tail candle here, which was a reversal candle at 9:48 on the 3-minute chart, by the way, ended up finding support at 855, resistance, excuse me, at 855. Well, lo and behold, that 855 came in as support over here, and then triple bottoms over here between 1054 and 11 o'clock. So that 855 is a key area of technical support, formerly resistance, something to be on the lookout for there. So KYTX, not a bad looker. Ozan saying MNQ, I'm not trading the NQ. I like you, Ozan. He tried to fool me like I didn't know what the MNQ was going to be, but I appreciate that. I'm not going to take out that one. Benton, fellow gunner, saying SOC. Yes, Benton, you are absolutely right. SOC is taking out the pre-market high, and by extension of that, of course, it meets my requirements of trading above the volume-weighted average price and above the pre-market high. Shout out to the OG Benton. And there it is. It took out that early 730 area spike. As Obi was saying, these small cap gappers, they live in the pre-market. They live in the aftermarket as a result of the lack of volatility halt parameters. The degens, like myself, their hands start shaking, Ob, when there's no volatility halt parameters. They see all the profits and, they're like, wow.
Yeah. You also have to remember, not a lot of institutional participation until the open, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like sometimes the algos don't jump in until after the open either. So it's a little bit cleaner. Obviously not all of them, but some of them for sure. So it's definitely a little bit more of what you see is what you get happening there. Yeah, Novo trying to break through this 52, but I don't want to hit it down here at the day lows. Initially, I was trying to take some inventory through 5176s, which is the current day low. But now I have eyes on NVIDIA, and somebody in the chat pointed this one out a little bit earlier. And I don't know if you probably saw this one, ASTI. Did you talk about this one?
Yeah, of course.
Look at the reversion on this one. Oh
Big
my God,
reversion.
a halter, and it kind of pushes through 7. Can't get through the 7 halves. I like that. Pulls back in. Here's the thing, where do you really want to get short this thing? Maybe on the break of trend, maybe you start getting in some here, but this is the first time, this probably halted down here as well, but maybe through here, but that's a little bit of a chop seed. I don't really know how to short this one too well. You got to be able to kind of, really watch it. There's a high volume candle right here on the push of 740s. Maybe when you see that and then the pull back in, maybe getting a little bit involved, maybe get some more here into VWAP and then take some more through the 550. We're pushing through $5 now. This definitely looks like it's making a beeline all the way to day lows here at $4. So shout out to whoever pointed that one out. I know Sharif said he looked at that one earlier. Beautiful long as well, but the backside's coming in real nice, and you can see the expanding volume coming in through the breakdowns as well, giving you that confluence of sellers being in charge. So you're like, okay, cool. If you're sitting short, if I'm sitting short this, I'm like, all right, cool, let's go. Like, this is good. I don't want to get out of this just yet unless we do something crazy like halt back in. But here's the thing. Buyers were here before at $4.
Okay.
Maybe they could come in anywhere around here. And so I got to be wary about that one. But again, not really my lane, so I can just to speak on a little bit of price action, but these things, when they move beautifully, as when I think we got a call for Adair.
Let's talk about cryptocurrency, guys. Here's BTC in the daily chart. It's kind of interesting because since we made that big drop on Friday, November 21st, just over a month ago, we've made very subtle higher lows. So the most, after that, we get this December 1st drop. We get a slightly higher low as of December 18th. Now today, trying to form another higher low. This base right now at 86 halves. If you take a look here at the 15-minute chart, you You can really see where we get this basing out here on Bitcoin right at 945, bit of elevated volume, then we come right back up. So interesting look here for BTC. Let's see if we can actually clear and stay above, though, this 87.8 level that's serving as some short-term support resistance on Bitcoin. Before we send you back to Obi and Sharif, I do want to also let you guys know, I know Sharif and I mentioned this earlier today, but Coinbase actually acquiring the clearing company. So this is going to be another predictions market type move. What makes the clearing company interesting, though, is that apparently they actually use digital ledger tech to clear and settle trades in stable coins. So this actually allows for instant settlement. Interesting note here. It's also worth noting here, founder of the clearing company, Tony Gemael, also worked with Kalshi and Polymarket. So experience in the space. Coinbase, along with Robinhood and DraftKings, all trying to get moves into that prediction market space. And this one actually very crypto related with that stablecoin touch, guys. Back to you.
A couple of million pounds. Yeah. Oh, I got to cover this.
Right. Cover it.
There goes freaking O into $2. We got 77s on this monster. Go hi ho, up into the day's high we go. 221. We're still about a fifth of a dollar, obviously off that high of the day. We're waiting now north of 2. So this is the litmus test. Can 2 get cleared? We've already seen 2 is a key area of resistance on HIHO. I don't care if the topping tail candle goes into 221. It spent almost no time there. Neither have any of the other prints. They've all been quick wicks above that $2 and then down we go. And this is, let me make my point to you guys. Let's see how many candles actually breach 2 and which ones are not wicks. One candle breach, wick. Another candle breach, wick, wick, wick. All right, you guys get what I'm saying over here. So clearly $2 a key area of technical resistance. If the shorts are going to insist on holding the line on $2 and we continue to put in higher lows, I don't think it will be good for the shorts. I could be wrong. We're going to pack the patience. We're going to build the position into the higher lows, and then we'll see what comes of that. So HIHO certainly in focus for me. This one I got wrong. RZLT, I felt that this one was heading down to the WAP, back to VWAP, and was going to lose it. I got that one wrong. Clearly, there was a buyer here at 30 pennies, given the bottoming tail candles and the lack of prints of anything, wick close or otherwise, below 30, and then rocketing up into the day's high, 243, RZLT, up 18 and change. I should have been trading this one rather than the hot garbage VUZI. Oh, Neil's brought the oily chicken. Get that oily chicken, Neil. I hope it's as oily as humanly possible.
Is it the same, was it fried chicken and like butter biscuits as the last time?
Yeah.
Yo, okay, while I was eating it, it was good.
It's good.
And then like 15 minutes later, I was like, oh.
I'm not gonna lie to anybody.
heavy.
It tasted fantastic. It tasted fantastic. It's just not my cup of tea, right?
Fair, man.
I just don't, I don't enjoy the...
Especially if you eat healthy, you work out, look at that. Here you go.
That's actually excellent, Fabian. You can barely even tell that there is like an artificial screen when you do that, by the way. So good luck there. All right, be nice.
It'll make you feel a little, you know, off kilter for
What
sure.
was that movie? Remember
healthy,
that documentary about fast foods back like in the early 2000s?
Super Size Me.
Super Size Me.
Yes.
Remember what he said specifically? And he ate McDonald's 3 times a day. And like after like the 5th day or something, you know, he started getting depression and stuff like that. Like it affects your
you saw the other thing where like this dude left his like McDonald's fries under the bed for like years.
Hold on,
guess
what
what?
happened?
They never went back. Like there's no mold. There's nothing growing on them.
Yeah, wow.
Like think about it. Not even the bacteria and fungi are just like we're not gonna mess with this stuff. You know?
I love it. He knows fungus in plural. I love it. Fungi.
What do you mean?
You never seen Seinfeld where he like
funguses?
Yeah, funguses, and then Kramer comes out fungi, right? That was a good one.
Go.
Get it, Obi's jokes, man. I love it. All right,
Angry
guys.
wife.
Look at Neil. Neil's going deep. Show him, Neil. Show what you got, Neil. Show the people, bro. The people want to see the plate. They don't just want to see you eating, Neil. They want to see the plate. There you go.
There it is.
All right, can we get maybe a better
I need some
view of
dipping sauce for that. It's a little, maybe a little dry for me.
You got potato wedges there, Neil?
Taters.
What are those?
Yeah, those
Tater
are some,
tots?
yeah, those are some wedges. Those look like wedges. Let's go. That's good.
Okay, those are potatoes.
Yeah, because last time
That's
it was
good.
biscuits.
No, I'm definitely down with potato.
Yeah, definitely. For sure. That's
Everybody's getting hungry in the chat.
Yes.
HD says finger licking good.
Yes.
All right, guys. All right.
I'm looking for this NVIDIA to be finger licking good as we break the trend.
You're waiting for the reversion, right?
I mean, I'm in it now. Let's see if it follows through. That's the question, right? Yeah, a little bit of a pullback. Is aggressive buying that just happening, right? Remember we talked about the 85 all the way to 88s. Let me take a little bit of a measure of how far of a breakout that was. Look at this, 52, a little bit of a shake and bake fugazi action happening here, looking like it's going to break down. Markets are turning a little bit here, but it's still chopping the 52, so I really don't want to mess with that right now. But yeah, the 55 push, about 1.6%, about $3 off of that. Yeah, so that's pretty nice. Nice little push there, but let's see if we get a bit of a reversion. We're pulling back into some of these moving averages, trend lines, whatever you want to use as trend indicators. My question is this too far too fast? Is it too far gone? Are we going to pull back into VWAP? The market tailwind is definitely going to be a big factor here. Yeah, NVIDIA catching that bid off of, maybe, well, one can speculate, maybe people are more interested in NVIDIA now because China's opened up. They're just like, we were making money, now we're going to make some more. And we're at all-time highs. We're near all-time highs as well. So it's just like, all right, cool. How much further can we go? I don't know. But I keep pointing out that 6-month and 12-month chart on the SPY. We are squeezing, dude. Any and every reason to buy, we will probably get some strong buyers, right? Here we go. A little bit of a pullback. Let's see if we can pull down through 187s here on NVIDIA with a bit of a reversion. Let me take a look at this market and see what else is turning. Tesla coming into the low of its range. Amazon holding VWAP as well. Google, bit of a test of high a day. Let's pull this in. I gotta look at these charts while I'm talking about them so you guys can follow along as well. Bit of a test of this high where we did get that beautiful, look at this reversion. Oh my God.
Oh, wow.
Oh my God. Pull right back in. What is that percentage? I want to do a quick measure of this one right here. Ooh, 1% pullback. That's beautiful. Right there, intraday, and then he wipes right back. Oh my God. The reversion of the reversion. And then a VWAP hold too? Come on. The force is balanced on this one. Let's just say that. Excuse me. Google coming in towards VWAP here, but Softy making a line towards high a day there. That was quite a nice slam in on the first candle right there as we pushed up into, I don't know what this is, yesterday's levels, right here, yesterday's pre-market levels where sellers came in pretty aggressively. We rip up into that area. Coming into today, we slam right back in. Nice chop, 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 chop. I don't know what to do with this here, but now we're breaking the range highs of the morning, so this could be something a little distinctly different. The market is, again, at its highs as well. Let's take a quick look at Apple here. Okay. A little bit of a pull up there. Was that 269 halves? So yeah, let's look left here on Apple and see if we can figure something out. Okay, cool. It's a bit of a low of range here. We attempt to push here. What is that? Thursday. That was a pretty strong flush. Beautiful reversion, hold of VWAP for the rest of the day here. I think I remember what the market did that day as well. So yeah, it kind of makes sense. But yeah, a bit of a bid coming in off of that 270 reclaim here. VWAP buyers definitely there. And then now attempting to break high a day as of right now here on Apple. That's a strong volume candle on that push. That wasn't even on the push of high a day. Okay, that's interesting. Someone maybe taking some off when the high a day fails to follow through. But you got to give it some time sometimes. It's consolidating near the highs. Now we're pushing 272s right now on Apple. I'm still looking for this NVIDIA pullback though. How far will it pull back? I don't know, man, because this market is kind of strong. We're holding up. So if we make a higher low anywhere along the way on NVIDIA here, so it's more than within range. It's more than within range, right? So we can pull back in. What do we have here? So 187, I'm at 187.48. Okay, cool. So hasn't really gone too far from where I got in. This was a little bit of a flush. So if we're going to hold in and around this area and pull back up, again, I'm more than willing to be wrong on this one. Again, holiday trading, got to keep it light, got to keep it tight, because you don't want to put on too much risk unless you see something. And then when you see something, you got to swing.
It's got to be like what? So do you have a rule, A+, B+
of course.
setups
on,
so holiday shortened days?
No, but even then, like
weeks, I mean.
Yeah, of course. So it's just like even then, like anything can show up, anything can fall into your lap, and if something nice falls into your lap, you definitely have to slap it, right? So 187, 188, kind of is the highs right now.
Rewind.
Oh, what do you
Rewind.
mean? We're doing
Hold
this
on.
live. We're doing it live.
Hold
We're doing
on.
it live. There's no
Something falls into your lap.
Come on, you don't have to repeat what I said.
I love it, bro. It's fantastic. And you say it with the utmost confidence and the utmost like nonchalantness. It's matter of fact to you, Wob. It's fantastic.
Here's the thing. Sometimes there are participants on the book. You're just like, what's happening? What are you doing there? You just gotta get it out of the way. Unfortunately, I don't have that kind of buying power. But you know, I don't have that kind of buying power. But you know,
I'm loving it.
It's the idea. It's the idea of being like, all right, do I think this is mispriced? Let's take out some of the book there. So it's coming right back into 188. So I think yeah, we'll let this chop around a little bit. I don't know if this is going to be day high here just yet, but we're going to give it a couple tries here. It is a little extended in my books here, but again, market can do its own thing.
Yes, sir. For
the longest time, and you know what? I don't have to. What's the saying again? Market can stay irrational longer than you can stay solvent, right? Yep. So it's just like, all right, cool. We're not trying to reach insolvency here just yet.
No,
but,
we don't need that life.
You know, we look at it. We look at the. But here's the thing: when people say that, it's irrational relative to who? Relative to me, right? Who am I? Nobody, right? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I think. It doesn't matter what you think. Market's going to do what the market does.
The market's going to do what it does.
If you think it's irrational, that's on you. It doesn't matter. But you know, sometimes you know, sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong. It doesn't really matter. But yeah, let's see if that pulls back into day highs there, and if it does, then we'll be out, we'll be done, because this is very, very strong on the day. It is breaking out of this range. The long was quite nice, but again, I'm looking for those players to take a little bit of a break here as we pull back in. Starbucks. Yes, still very, very strong here. Let's see if we're doing any sort of relative volume. Absolutely not. Not even yesterday. Look at that. Low key, just bleeding.
Low key.
And bigger picture here as well on Starbucks. Let's go to a higher time frame. Let's go straight up to the weekly, right? Okay, that's a little bit choppy. But going to the bigger picture, we've kind of, you know, we're kind of in this bigger picture range here. And if sellers are going to step in, kind of in this chop, on low volume, yeah, I got it on watch. I'm trying to figure some stuff out on this thing here as well. But again, in kind of no man's land in the bigger picture here as well on Starbucks. So we've been stuck in this range for multiple years. I guess 68, 65 lows with a high of 115s here on Starbucks. But yesterday's action was kind of distinct, so I just wanted to take a little bit of a continuation. I'm not that good at continuation trades. So I'm trying to get better at that. And this one came in quite nice, so I definitely have to, you know, do a little bit of a journaling and writing some stuff down for this one. See if I can kind of capture something like this once again. How frequent something like this actually succeeds, happens, and how long of a pull we have. It's about 2.2% roughly, until we get a little bit of buying, and even that buying gets sold right back into, distinctly different from that of the markets right here. I just also want to do a pulse check here. J&J, what are you up to? Berkshire, what are you up to?
I like what you call that.
Right here. Okay, interesting, beautiful reversion happening here on Berkshire. Already happened, almost 100% pullback into opening range lows here, so that was nice. You got to be watching some of this stuff, man. You can't catch everything at the same time. But, you know, that's what we're trying to do, trying to catch as much as we can and have things brought to our attention. What's going on? Okay, this is my 11:45 alarm here. It's a little vulgar, but it's basically telling me that, you know, if you haven't got up yet, go for a walk.
So, yeah, okay, that's smart.
What the hell is even that?
Yeah. Well, it's his alarm.
Yeah, it's my reality check alarm. Sometimes, here's the thing. You know what I noticed?
Yes, sir.
If I'm tilted on a position and I'm bag holding a position, I'm usually bag hold it from like 10:30, 9 o'clock all the way into 12 to noon. Sometimes, because it's just like maybe it's just chopping around. Maybe, you know, it hasn't hit my stop, hasn't hit anything. But more likely than not, if I'm doing that, probably wrong, right? I'm like locked in, deer in headlights. So it's just, I was like, okay, over time, I'm just like, I need an alarm to kind of pull me out of the zone.
Smart, man.
And be like, all right, reassess, step back, punch out. It's okay. Tomorrow's another day. Where's the next trade? Nobody cares, right? Take a breather and, you know, manage that mental. So that's my alarm. Around 11:45, I go for a quick walk, even if it's around the block, even if it's going up to go get another cup of coffee, because I want to continue watching the position. right? Exactly.
I like how you've been able to actually narrow that to a time. So you're
it's journaling.
super.
It's pure journaling.
Well, there.
Like
you go.
journaling, I'm
Yeah,
just
you're
like, yo,
acutely
these are
aware
trades.
of that, right?
Yeah, like some of my worst trades, I'm just like, I'm just bag holding or I'm fighting the front side of the move. It's one or the other, right? So those are my worst days. When I'm fighting the front side or when I'm bag holding something that I know I shouldn't be in. And a lot of times, especially for those bag holds, I'm still kind of in the position zoned in at 11:45 and it hasn't really done too much.
Right. Yeah, right? Yeah.
So I'm just like, reality check. Let's get that done.
I don't want to speak on your behalf,
the next
obviously,
trade?
but when you're really zoned in, especially when you're not doing that well I'm just speaking for myself. You have a tendency to become myopic, and you kind of don't really notice. Maybe there are some other names that I need to be focusing on.
Yeah.
Perhaps it's time now to kind of give my central nervous system a bit of a rest, right, from the anxiety, the stress. So I like how you actually were able to narrow down a time. That's really smart, Ope.
There was so much overlap. There's so much because you just go through like when you especially this is the thing about like you got to journal. You got to be detailed in your journals. You got to be like, all right, how do I do on my best winners? How do I do on my best losers or my worst losers, whatever. And then kind of look for factors that kind of come back over and over again. If it's easy to spot, then it's like, okay, what's the solution? What's the solution to kind of fix that? Sure, I still fall into that. I'm not saying just because I have the alarm, it doesn't happen anymore. I still fall into that every now and then, but significantly less.
There you go.
Right, so it's like that's all it is. Just how do we get a little bit better every day? And that's one of my things that I've done to get a little bit better for the next day here. But
all right. I just want to cover some of these trades. Look, HIHO came into VWAP. I added aggressively into that 70 penny area. We scalped up into 80s. I'm out of the position. Reason is there is an 80 seller here, and there was also a previous area of support in and around 80 that's now, I feel, being used as resistance, a bit of a shelf, so to speak. This is the shelf I'm speaking about. There was buyers at 80, buyers at 80, buyers at 80, including myself there. And then it touches 2, which is technically yet another lower high, dropping back down. This one's going to have to set up a bit differently. I don't mind picking it up again off VWAP. If it comes in there, shows me maybe a bit of a reversal candle, I'll get back in. I'll also get back in if it comes into that volume weighted average price and the subsequent candle is an aggressive 5-minute candle to make a new high. So that is my look right now on HIHO. We're profitable on it, but we had to add aggressively into the volume weighted average price, a position I don't typically take, to scalp up some into the 80s there. So we're gonna set up a little bit better and a little bit more strategically on HIHO rather than just trying to catch all the lower highs. SOC. This one Benton gave me. I don't mind this one at all. 988 high, it takes out the pre-market high, but now it's got a 4-candle red setup on the 5 where it really doesn't catch a bid. So Benton, I'm looking at that $9 area. That's where the volume weighted average price is. A little bit lower actually is VWAP than the whole dollar level. I don't mind setting up at that level, but I don't want to catch a falling knife either. So it's going to have to show me something here bullish for me to punch into SOC, but it's up a respectable amount, 20 3/4. Let's see if this one can work up into area highs. I added on VUZI, we got a couple of bottoming tail candles, all of which were below the 10 EMA on the 5, but all of which also were above the 20. So this one tells me that the money fills could be in between that 10 and 20, something that we've been talking more about lately. I got 52s on this one. We've got a good amount of shares, looking for this one to ride up, maybe test that 60 penny high. 60 penny level. It's a 58 penny high. VUZI, look, it's not a rocket ship, but I don't expect rocket ships today. At least not yet, maybe when we see a bit of a different one. This is the one that I'm lamenting not having gotten into, and I don't have really an opportunity here to get in. It gave me a 2-candle red pullback on the 5, which I didn't take advantage of. I was alive to the 40 support, $2.40 area support, prior area of resistance, but I didn't think it had pulled back far enough for me to weasel on in. So I missed that one. I didn't really get a pullback into the 10 either. The 2-candle pullback was still substantially above the 10 EMA on the 5, so I didn't get my entry into that one. So we'll have to see how that one goes. I also had to flatten out my trade. I think I took it off. On UAMY, break even on that one, barely lost any money, but it's lost trend, so it's lost me as a trader. So we're focusing on VUZI, VUZI, and I'm also focusing on SOC. Let's see what Benton has to say. He says, Sharif, agreed. I'm in at 881. That's a great price, Benton. And sold some at 950. Calls expiry Friday on SOC. He's playing it the options route. Doesn't really make much of a difference. Well, it does, of course, but the technicals still are the same, whether you're looking at options or equities. So what I'm looking for, Benton, a $9 hold, maybe even a bit of a deeper move below 9, maybe into VWAP at around, I want to say 8 mid-90s. That's option number one on SOC. The other option is to get that pullback and then to get that first 5-minute candle to make a new high relative to the prior candle. It has to be on a closing basis. So that's what I'm looking at there. I'm still seeing HIHO continue to bleed its own blood into the volume weighted average price. So we're going to keep tabs on that one. And if it's setting up here in a way that's advantageous for a bounce, I'm going to get in, but I need to see more. I don't want to catch a falling knife, especially with the unbroken, Fabian, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high issue that we've been dealing with. And here's kind of what I'm talking about. Let me show you on the black charts. It's a little bit easier to demonstrate there. So if we were to take this topping till candle at 1010 as the area high, and of course it is the intraday high, 221. Then you have the subsequent area high at the 1050 candle, the high of which is 208. Then you have a subsequent high, 1130, the high of which is 199. You get it? Lower high, lower high. So that's not going to work out for me. It's got to change that trend for me to get interested and to pack on some sharage on HIHO. I was also looking at Lion, Fabian. Lions, Tigers, and Bears. I was thinking about this one for a move into the volume weighted average price. Alas, it is losing VWAP as we speak. Let me load it up on the watch list over here because it doesn't update. There we go. So VWAP a little bit above that $9 area. I want to say by 3 pennies. You also have this area to keep your eye out on, which is about $8.95. I feel like I'm grasping at straws here with Lion, especially since it's not up so much and likely won't be on a lot of people's radars, only up 7 3/4 on the day. So maybe I should be looking for something a little bit better. UAMY is making me feel bad about myself. It found support at 6 and now it's rocketing up back into 615, but you know, you can't win them all. What else is there? SOC, we're getting finally a green candle here, not a bad look. And VUZI, still hanging out in the 3 mid-50s, so not a whole lot for me to punch into. Obviously, there was HYMC as well, Ram, but the problem with this one is it's awfully expensive. It's awfully expensive, and it's still putting in lower highs, Fabian. Look at this. So even though you're getting that clean area of support in and around 27 single digits, I mean like 2708, maybe 2710, even low double digits, 1213, something like that. You're getting that hold. But what you need to be alive to as well is the other side of the pattern. So you're getting 27 holds, but you're also getting lower highs. So at some point in time, that could be a flat bottom break through that $27 area. And 27 it's not a shock that it has support there. It rejected $27 multiple times before it cleared it and got up into 27.99 technically. So that is my look there. We're going to pack our patience, and it is a bit of a slower day, so we're going to have to be, you know, quite strategic about what we're doing here. So we got to pack, we got to pause for a second. We got to go up to Adara, who's got breaking news at the big desk.
Keep an eye on some of these quantum plays, guys. Here's IONQ. Global Times, which is a Chinese news source, they're reporting that China has made a new breakthrough in quantum computing. Apparently, this is called Zukonzi 3.2, which achieved quantum error correction below the fault tolerance threshold on a surface code. So again, keep an eye here on IONQ, QBTS, RGTI, and QUBT. Again, Global Times out of China reporting that China has made a quantum computing breakthrough. Back to you.
Have to keep an eye here on the quantum names because that could be a big move down. Obi saying, look, the market still hasn't reacted. Adara quick with the news, but usually these algos respond pretty quickly, so we'll have to wait and see there. Obviously, any sort of competition coming from China is not going to be met well by the market here. Not SOC. There we go on Mr. VUZI. VUZI, give me a couple of prints, please. This dang punch, having added back into that 50 penny area, and up it goes into 56s. We are now 2 pennies off the high of the day, which is 358. 3 bottoming tail candles, all that breached the 10 EMA on the 5, were kind of what gave me the tip that this one was one to add into. Once those bottoming tail candles closed and the first 5-minute candle will make a new high came in, your boy added. So we're going to wet the beak over here. Let's take out some at 56 and keep an eye out on that. Alfonso, 64.58. I don't know why it's blocking your comment, brother. You didn't say anything bad. All you're saying is tell me to look at PCLA, and that we will. So let's go ahead over here. PCLA. Oh, you know what? I love the chart pattern. I hate the price. Okay, so I have a bit of an informal rule. I don't always follow it, but I want to say like over 80% of the time I will. These stocks that are trading south of $1, they don't get a lot of love from me, okay? They're harder to trade. There's technical support and resistance every which way, so many different areas or price levels at which to post sell orders. So I don't like them. Having said that, if the pickings are slim, we may have to get into it. So this is a great looking chart pattern that you just put up there. So I like it. Who are we going to take off here? We're going to take off AFJK, AFJK, because that one lost the volume weighted average price, and it's on Uncle Sheriff's shit list now. So at PCLA, that is what
don't want to be on that list.
Nephew call. Yeah, you don't want to be on Uncle Sheriff's shit.
Don't be on the naughty list.
Especially going into the the Christmas season.
Yeah,
you might have to talk with Mr. Chris Kringle, and you got to get coals.
You might get some coals in that stock.
You know exactly what Ram's getting.
Oh.
She's getting bear coals.
Bear coals.
Bear coals. She doesn't celebrate Christmas, but she's getting coals anyway, right? So shout out to her. We love you, Ram. PCLA looking real good. What?
Ram say what?
Ram say what?
Chat, what do you say?
She's talking to the chat. I love that. I can't hear you, Ram, because I had to turn it off because Neil and Sean were super loud and they hurt my ear. Hold on, say that again now, Ram. I've turned you back on. But peace. Go ahead.
I was just asking chat what he said.
Oh yeah, I said you don't celebrate Christmas, but you're getting coals in your stocking anyway.
Okay, you're getting a fatter bag of coal.
You're getting a fatter amount of coal. Shout out to you, girl. PCLA looking good, guys. I might weasel into this one if it's warranted, but I'm definitely not going to be quick to jump into it. But there goes VUZI into the high of the day. Your boy wet the beak there into the high. We got 52s on with the ad, now showing 59er. Let's go ahead and post that at 60, and we're going to post up at 64 as well. Let's see if we can take out the top on this one. Not a bad look there. I missed a super chat. Casey, 520 frickin' 6. Printing on AIRI. Let's go have a look at ARI. Is that how you say it? AIRI? Air Industrial. Oh, okay, Case, I see you. Case, this barely doing any volume, though. Fabian, if we can show the chart, please, sir. Right? AIRI. That's what you said, right? AIRI, yeah. About 500,000 shares traded, Case 513,000. Doesn't matter, though, because you're printing up a storm on it. Tell me what your technical setup is on this. It's respecting trend, to be fair, even though the volume is not that great. It's got higher lows, higher highs coming into that 3.5, up 13, 14% over here. So let me know, Case, what your setup is, but not my cup of tea given the lack of liquidity. Me, but not a bad look.
Happening now.
All right, so we're going to keep an eye on that. The OG Bovin saying KYTX is moving, so we'll look at KYTX before we go to happening now. And Neil's lesson of the day, fantastic call out there. KYTX looking real good. So we're going to have to take somebody off over here and replace them with KYTX. I don't know who I'm going to take off, though. HYMC, I'm unlikely to trade because given the price. So we're going to put KYTX up here. I like it. Let me know what your move is on this, Bovin, but $9 approaching here on KYTX. I've mentioned this already, because I remember this one was a double bottom into that 20 EMA. So do you have anything you want to mention quickly before we go to happening now?
NVIDIA through fresh highs. So I said this in the chat a little bit earlier. Okay, my stop was at high a day. You don't need for your stop to come in to get out. If the price action is telling, it's probably easier just to get out a little bit earlier. That's something I'm kind of working on and learning as well. And yeah, the price action was very telling. We held above halves. We started pushing up a little bit higher. And I was like, all right, that's all she wrote for the little bit of a selling. And the buyer's stepping right back in. I don't need it to break high a day to tell me that it's going to go through high a day. So,
right.
that's all. So
you guys
out of that one, we'll see what's the next trade.
Before we get into our what's happening now in Neil's lesson, we're going to take a moment to thank our friends at Origenics because concussions demand fast solutions. NYSE listed Origenics, or OGEN, is developing one designed to reach the brain quickly and non-invasively. Learn more by scheduling a meeting today. It has been quite some time since we've seen a red 15-minute candle here on this S&P 500. As you can see, last red 15-minute candle was at 10 a.m. and then we just keep rocketing higher, though again, momentum may be slowing down a bit. These candles getting smaller and a bit shorter. A lot of strength here in this market. Obi just mentioned NVIDIA at IFJ's, NVDA and AMD, both getting positive analyst notes from Raymond James, basically saying that their revenue in 2026 can certainly accelerate if, and especially if we get these chips being sold into China. So we're gonna have to wait and see what happens there. But either way, certainly some positivity. We also had GDP coming in much stronger than expected, and US President Donald Trump giving his approval to that GDP print. Let's take a look here at IONQ. Not a ton of move here in these quantum names, but I did mention a couple minutes ago, Global Times, an outlet out of China, reporting that China had a major quantum breakthrough. Let's talk about NVO, Novo Nordisk, up 7% at one point, gapped up here pre-market after announcing that the US FDA has approved its Wegovy pill. Its competitor Eli Lilly also initially had a good start to the day, but giving up a lot of that strength. I have to talk about a name that's really weak today, in contrast to that very strong market, and that's ServiceNow. NOW here, moving into this AI-powered cybersecurity space, announcing the acquisition of cybersecurity startup Armis for $7.75 billion. Apparently, this acquisition is set to close during 2026. Now make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and make sure to cyber secure yourself. A lesson of the day with Neil. Neil, how was the chicken?
A while ago. I want to shout out to Obi. What's wrong with my mic? Oh, my mic fell. Uh-oh.
Welcome to a live show, everybody. It happens every now and then. Please be patient. Thank you.
My mic fell down. I didn't eat the mic. Okay, so first things first, it was delicious. So delicious that I can't even think straight. My plate is done. I didn't eat the wedges yet. Oh shoot, that's fine. I've already finished all of my lunch. I haven't eaten the wedges yet because I probably need like ketchup or something with them, or like barbecue sauce. It needs something. They're a little bit too plain. But now we're back on. Like I said, the chicken was delicious, but I got to thank Obi for the reason for the lesson of the day, because he said two things that I really liked. And sometimes I'm like, I have an idea in my mind, and then I hear something or something comes up, and I'm like, no, this is what I want to talk about today. And it was when he had that alarm going off. He's like, oh, this is the alarm that if I'm fighting something or against a trend, it's usually around this time, and I got to stop doing it, and that's one part of it. And the other part of it was, Obi said, sometimes you don't have to wait for a stock to get to your stop. You can just decide to get out of it before it hits your stop and save yourself some money. So with those two things in mind, I want to talk about the fact that you always have options in the market. This morning, I liked two names in the chip space short, Intel and AMD. Now, AMD, obviously on the front end of the trade going into the level I like, which is this resistance in here, I got stopped out. I saw some massive topping tail candles corresponding to this level from yesterday in the morning, so I reshorted it. And you'll note that when it bounced here at 214, I got out. Did I reshort there? No. Why didn't I reshort there? Because I had to look over at, look how parabolic that is, at the other stock that I liked short. Now they both did the same thing at the open. They both went up at the open. Now I got the curl on AMD. I didn't get the curl on Intel. But Intel was much weaker on the way back down. So it showed me that on that reverse, Intel was weaker than AMD. So which one am I going to continue to short? Intel, which held VWAP up until the 5th time that I shorted it, whereas Advanced Micro Devices has been trending up and is still trending up since the bounce. And one small thing like, okay, well, just because I got back my money on AMD doesn't mean I have to go fighting that stock because it's going to move more percentage basis. It's trending up. Why short the stock that's trending up? If you're compelled to short a tech, just short the one that's got a lower high. And you've got options. You could be short SMCI until it broke VWAP here. This pulled into VWAP and was clean. There's almost always something else if you're patient enough and willing enough to look elsewhere. And the other thing here I wanted to mention is AMD, it's starting to look like something for me. There's a trend to the upside. And if I'm going to short it off of that high again, I need a reason to do so. And that reason will almost certainly be that it breaks this trend. I'll wait for it to not be trending up to go short. It's a simple thing to say, and it sounds so intuitively right. Like you can get short scalp, get short scalp if you're perfect, but you don't want to be short in an upward trend. You can get short or you can in an upward trend and make some scalp trades, but you don't want to just be short as it's trending to the upside. That goes back to that line of it's okay to be wrong, it's not okay to stay wrong as a trader. Traders who stay wrong end up losing money. You can be wrong plenty of times as a trader and make money. I'm wrong all the time. I mean, literally, like every single day. Like I'll have days where, like sometimes my best day in a week, I might trade 8 symbols and I was like 4 for 8. And it'll be my best day in the week. Why? Because I lose small and let my winners go. It's just going to be that simple. Now, there are other days like where you don't have any losers, but you know what? It's weird. Like this isn't, like I haven't really had a loser today, but it's not my best day because there was no big, massive home run that I was able to get perfectly. Like Intel didn't follow through. Unfortunately, like it did, like it's a good scalp, but at no point when I'm shorting here did it follow through, and I didn't get the top. So there's no home runs there, but it's a solid stock, and sometimes that's just how it is. Now the other side of that coin is there are going to be situations where I don't need to let it go to the high of the day, and the example I'm going to use is when I was short on the back end on AMD here. There's no chance I was giving it to a wick top. No, like even if I set a stop. When I'm looking at that tape and it's relatively strong, I'm just going to make sure that sometimes it's above my entry, it's above this level, my stop's up here, and there's strength, 15 cents, 20 cents beneath it. Sometimes you just got to get out of Dodge, especially when it's strong relative to its cohorts or strong relative to the market. And then the other thing, just on the same point, someone asked me about Bitcoin, and I want to make the point here. Because they were like, well, I said there was a double top in the chat in Bitcoin, and they're like, well, is it going to not get through 88? And my answer was, I don't know, but it's a double top, but I'm not going short unless it sets up. Bitcoin worked because when the market was breaking out, it didn't break out. Relatively weak, under the prior low, short VWAP. Fortunate enough that it filled the gap to my target on the 15. Sometimes that happens, but I don't have to be short. I can want to short the 88 level, but unless it breaks this trend, I'm not going to do it. That doesn't really make any sense. So Bitcoin actually has a chance to go green here as we speak. It just comes down to something that's simple to say, but not simple in practice, right? And that ultimately is you don't have to fight the market. The best thing about trading is if there's like 20 semiconductor or a million semiconductor stocks, I don't know if there's actually 20. There's multiple quantum names. There's multiple energy names. There's very few things that are going to be unique if an entire space has news or some kind of a catalyst. So you can pick and choose which one you want to trade. And when you have options, you don't have to pick the strongest one. Like look at NVIDIA today. Like if you could have wanted chip short, but look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA's up 2.5%. Are all chips up this much? No. Are all semiconductor stocks this strong? No. There are weak ones out there. So you just try to pick on those to the best of your ability, and you'll be a heck of a lot better off. I love that idea of the timer that Obi was talking about, and it led me to thinking about that same concept. Like getting away from the one that isn't working and find the one that is fitting your trade plan. So and hopefully you guys enjoy your lunch and midday as much as I enjoyed my chicken. Sean just sat down. He's about to enjoy it as well. But we'll send you back to the boys. It was delicious. But there's no biscuits, Sean. There's no biscuits.
No biscuits,
Man
come on.
is very disappointed that there are no biscuits. You should have seen his response.
Gotta have
I
something.
like Neil like telling him that. He's like, there's no biscuits, guys. There's no, it's like blaspheming. How dare you bring oily chicken without biscuits?
Yes.
You know what I mean? No, here, let's be real. China. Well, what did China have to do with this, Fabian? I mean, like, what are we going to blame them? Don't be rude to the oily chicken. No, seriously though, guys, let's get back to work over here. Your boy worked into SOC. Shout out to Benton. Benton giving me this one. This is still putting in higher lows. It looks like the technical area of support is around the 20. There is resistance, though, at the $0.5. We've got a triple top here on the 5. Neither of these 5-minute candles can breach the $0.5. So we're accumulating a position here, looking for the $0.5 break and a test possibly of that high of day at 988s. There's 46s. There's 50. Now we just momentarily got above the $0.5, and as such, we got the beak wet. But we are looking for continuation, not a quick wick, and then a move back down. So let's post here towards 60 and see what we get here. But yeah, the selling coming in again on SOC right around that $0.5. We're gonna have to pack the patience. VUZI, VUZI, topping tail into 362. You then start getting concerned, right? Topping tail, is this a reversal candle? Well, we put in a 1 candle pullback that ended up being red, and we pulled into the 10 EMA on the 5-minute chart. And we are holding there. It doesn't mean we're going to continue to hold there. In fact, the current candle setup is lower high, lower high, lower high, and the equal amount of lower lows as well. I'm talking about VUZI, but I'm trying to set up in the right way on this one. Jowl press, nah. I don't even think it's that bad, Neil. I just, I have to exaggerate for effect. That's kind of what I do. So that's what I'm talking about. There, Neil was saying that the chicken was maybe not that healthy, but I took a quick look at it back there. It's not as oily as I made it out to be.
Really? It's definitely oily.
It's oily. It's fried.
It's unhealthy. You can't deny that it's unhealthy. Is it good eating? For sure.
Let me ask you, have you ever peeled the skin or the the fried part of the chicken from like KFC and stuff like that? Neither have I. And
why would I do that?
Because then you're going to take off number one. Well, it's blasphemy for the very committed chicken eaters. But for those who may be a little health conscious, there's a lot of fat and there's a lot of carbohydrates there. But I do appreciate the way you set that up and made me feel very bad about myself.
No, if it's like burnt or if it's like if it's too. I actually had a burger recently. Right, and I'm like, they had great reviews. I'm like, I want to try these guys out.
Okay.
So order this burger. Comes to me. It's in the whatever, the cardboard or whatever.
Right.
Open it up.
Take a look.
A big burger, huge tender.
Get behind that.
At the bottom there is a pool. Of oil.
Oh.
And I'm like, I got to do this. It's such a highly rated burger. You cannot eat that every day.
That's crazy.
That's like maybe once a month.
No, man.
I take a bite into it, the oil's just running down my hand. Oh my God, but it tastes so.
Of course it does. Of course it does. But
huge tenders.
Why,
nice
Fabian?
and spicy, So
killing my ear.
Also IONQ, we were talking about that IONQ move with the quantum thing. I got a little short through 53s here. Let's see if we can break down the range lows. Let's go to IONQ to take a look at what I'm looking at right here.
Sure.
So it's been kind of chopping up VWAP here. You can see that nice little orbit happening. So we recently had some news, no real reaction to that in the quantum sector, not really expecting too much, but you can see a little bit of a test of the lower end of the range. So let's see how we do here. Can we get back to the highs? Can we get through these lows? I'm definitely looking to get a little bit bigger, but that would require some more price action here. Okay, what's this? Hello. Maybe a prior level. Okay, we violated it, but I guess it came back in right here once again today at 54 halves. Actually, I want to go back and take a look at where this support and resistance line is coming from. If it's chopped it up way too many times, then it could just be, coincidence. Here right now. So great song, by the way. Here we go. Yeah, supply. So maybe a little bit of a supply zone happening here on IONQ in and around 55s ish. But yeah, just risking to the range highs. Let's see what it does here. Let's see if the quantum sector kind of comes back in. Do we get any sort of a distinct selling happening? Okay, so Novo, seeing a little bit of a maybe cleaner action here. Don't forget, this thing is a dual traded, right? And when that market closes, Jose and I were talking about this as well. It's like when that market closes, the ARB boys can't really do too much now after that because that market is now closed. So maybe. Just maybe, then they might give up the 52 bid. Guess what? That still hasn't happened. So we'll see. It's just chopping around VWAP and 52 right now. So a nice little sandwich of about 20, 30 pennies. VWAP sitting at 52.27s. So sideways range here. I was honestly looking to take inventory through the day low earlier, but if it's going to chop up, sure, it's good news, and you know, it's okay news. So definitely want to keep eyes on that here. And NVIDIA, I'm keeping my eyes on NVIDIA here. This is what I was looking at a little bit earlier. Didn't really come in, so you know what? Sure, we can adjust the lines here a little bit here. But why did I take it from here? Because this is the point from which we broke out of that 85s and held. But bigger picture, where does the bid actually come in from? Maybe down here, and maybe now. Now I'm just line fitting. I feel like I'm line fitting now. But again, let's see if there's a distinct break in trend now after we've tested 88 halves. But let's go to a higher time frame. Let me just step up here. What do we do? Let's go up to a 30-minute right here. So look at the 30-minute. Okay. Absolute strength on the 30-minute. So this could definitely continue. You can see here, nice little hammer candle to the upside. On NVIDIA 30-minute. So it is a bit extended. What is the market looking like? All right, the market looks like maybe we're taking a bit of a turn here. So let's see, let's wait and see if that is the high of day on NVIDIA. 188.55 is currently printed as the day high. So Starbucks continuing to come back in to the downside here. So yeah, we did get a little bit of a bid. Back on the 30-minute, let me go down to a 15. We got a little bit of a bid here, but that's coming right back in. It's kind of, again, more kind of hammering in that more seller dominance happening here on Starbucks to the downside on the day today. Eyes on IONQ, 5280s. Okay, that's coming in a little bit there. Something that's more sold off that might be a bit better. It's also on the top volume leader list. Here, actually, it's number, what is that, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. It's number 10 on the volume gainers, exactly. Quantum, apparently, we're not appreciating today, Sharif. So QBTS here, more sellers on this name. Okay, we got some relative volume as well. I guess we had news yesterday on QBTS. I didn't know about that. That was a beautiful, nice, strong push into the end of the day, and now we're getting faded. All right, cool. So maybe this has more incentive to sell off because you have short-term participants potentially from yesterday. The strong action, beautiful reversion coming in on the day today. Here's the day low coming in through $30. Day low sitting at 29.84 is currently trading at 29.88. It's only about 4 pennies away. So adds confluence to my IONQ, yes, but seems like I should be short on D-Wave here as it's making waves to the downside a little bit stronger than the rest of them. What else do we got on here? Rocket Lab. Rocket Lab was interesting in the morning. Go to Rocket Lab. Rocket Lab was interesting in the morning. Definitely been doing some decent relative volume over the past couple of days here. Look at that. This was a sick trade right here if you had it going into the after hours, man. Held offer on 70 halves pretty much all day. You had a strong bid, and then we couldn't even sell off down to VWAP. This was last Friday, don't forget. So right here, boom, for 3 hours and 45 minutes, right into the close, we pretty much hold, and then after hours, we might get a piece of news or whatever. I don't know what happened, but boom, that seller lifts and then gets slapped all the way to 75s, almost 75, 74s and change, 80s I have here. And next day continuation, that's nice. Now we're kind of in this range as of right now as we attempt to push prior day's high once again, but can't really get that far. Only 79.15s is the current day high. Tight chop around VWAP as of right now. What do we have here?
Let me just cover this.
Yes.
SOC is going, guys. The flat top break through the $0.50 manifested. We are now in the low 60s. Look, it was a triple top at the $0.50. That short seller at the $0.50 is now removed. Now we're looking between this current price in the low 60s, and we're looking at that HOD, the high of the day, which is sitting at 88s. We've got 42s on now, showing me 64s. Let's set up a beak wetter, of course, at the we're contractually required to post at 69 anytime there's price action in the 60s. So we're going to go ahead and post at 69, and then we're going to leave a little bit there to see if we can run up into that HOD. Again, 88s showing up there. So that's the trade on SOC. Pleased about that one, and pleased Benton brought it to my attention. Shout out to the OG and COYG. For all those who know. If you know, you know. This one as well. PCLA. Look, Sub $1 name, pickings are slim, so I'm gonna get involved in this one. What I've given it is, I've given it to the hammer candle low. So look at the candle at 1210. Let me just see which one it is over here. Yes, you can't see it because the triangle is there where I punched, but it was a hammer candle that ended up, bouncing off the 10 EMA. I'm giving it to that low, so that takes me about to 38 pennies. We're in at 42. Let's see what this one does. Got a topping tail into essentially 45. Technically, it is 44.83. But it's still holding the 10 EMA on the 5, so I want to build my position into this and allow it, I guess, to kind of run up here and maybe take out the $0.5. So that's my focus right now on PCLA. We're going to see what this one has to do. We got the print at 69 on SOC, and then it immediately dropped into the high 50s over here. So we've got 42s on. The question I always ask myself, do I ride trend and add more shares into that 10 EMA on the 5, the area where I'm basically observing the area of support? So currently, the 10 EMA on the 5 is right where I got in at 42. So it's not time for me to add yet here on SOC. How's PCLA doing? Well, it's coming down. And now we're 3 pennies out of the money on this hot garbage. If it doesn't hold the hammer candle low, I'm out. Even though the 10 EMA is, I think, a skosh below the hammer candle low. So if I get stopped out, that's fine. If it rockets back up, I always have the opportunity to get back in. If it prints, though, anything above 42.5 pennies, I'm going to add into this position. So we'll see what we get. Do I get stopped out, or do we move back above into the low 40s? So that's my observation on PCLA. The OG Bovin telling me OPTX is doing things. Let's have a look at OPTX. I haven't quite looked at. I did look at that one, Bovin. It's below the pre-market high, which is why I didn't mention it. I like your other one though, STEC. So the reason Bovin is talking about this one is it's just reclaimed VWAP. Of course, I'm talking about OPTX. Let's throw in that ticker there. The reason I'm not quick to punch in, obviously one of the rules that I have is that it has to be trading above the pre-market high, above the volume weighted average price, and that it is. It is. It's above VWAP by a substantial amount now, I think to the tune of 10 pennies. But it's this candle here. Oh, hold on. Did we clear that? Oh, we did clear the pre-market high already, right at the 939 time slot. Let me switch to the 5. This is throwing me off here with this 3-minute. So topping tail candle. That's an official high of the day print there. Let me put in OPTX on the watch list on the side because it's not updating the highs and the lows on the day. Still not updating the highs and lows. Thank you, OPTX. You're so helpful. I don't know how to feel about this one, Bovin. I don't know how to feel about this one because we didn't really clear the pre-market high with any vigor here. I mean, that 520 high is 343. This 940 high is 354, and then it ended up closing below it. So I see what you're seeing on this one. I don't want to be quick to jump in, though. And it did have a decent afternoon yesterday. It was running into the aftermarket, so this one does have a bit of a tailwind. Opens up at 4 a.m., gaps up aggressively with decent volume, mind you. These candles in the pre-market had almost 1 million shares of pop. 800 on this one, 940,000 on this one, 600 on this one. Okay, drops a little bit here to 400,000, but that's still good amount of volume here for OPTX in the pre, especially on a bit of a lighter trading day. In addition to that, the volume bars on the bottom, look at that. We're getting higher lows on those volume bars. So these successive candles now are doing over 1 million shares of pop each here. So I like this Bovin, but I'm going to pack my patience. Here comes PCLA, seller at 42. Can we shake him? I got the 43 print. The breakout could be on here on PCLA. Whoa. Let's see if we can move up a little bit more. We held the 10 EMA like a glove, which is why I didn't get stopped out. Looking for continuation above 43. I'm now waiting at 44 as we're seeing 43.5, 43 1/3. Looking for a move up into the higher 43s here. We're not getting that, and this is kind of why I don't like it. Because there's just such a thick trade, man. Yeah, so a couple of beak wetters there. It did breach 44 momentarily. Now we're looking at 46, so that will have to be a high of daybreak. Oh, so PCLA looking okay, but super thick. What do you got?
All right, guys, for too long, trading meant risking your own money or never having enough to start. The fear of losing, that's what kept so many people on the sidelines.
Not good.
But that's changing.
Good.
Trade the Pool is transforming how traders access the markets. With its limited risk trading model, traders use funded capital while Trade the Pool absorbs the downside. This allows traders to focus on what truly matters. That's discipline, consistency, and growth. When you hit the profit target, you get to keep 70% of the profits. No fear, no barriers, just real opportunity. This is the revolution of limited risk trading powered by Trade the Pool. Visit tradethepool.com or scan the QR code now to get 10% off your first evaluation. Oh,
What happened? Hold on,
here?
Ram.
Is this a fire alarm? Here we go. Here we go. All right. This could be the signal. I don't know.
What's going on? All right, sorry guys, we got the
Someone's
building
on the PA.
intercom. I think they're just talking about.
Oh, the principal's talking, Sharif.
The principal, the PA. Oh,
You remember?
it's so good. Did you ever play? Did they in your high school? I know where you went. I'm not going to say it, but did you guys play music on the way to class? Like
Yeah,
was there
yeah,
like
in
a
the
2-minute
morning.
warning?
Yeah, in the morning.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
When you heard that music, you just started doing, you double step.
double step. Yeah, you got to
exactly.
quick it up.
Yeah.
Did you our school have tardies?
Yeah, I was one of them.
Likewise. There goes PCLA into 44 and a third. We're now waiting at 46 Obe. You know, I hate to celebrate pennies at a time here, but that's what small cap trading, especially south of the dollar, is. There's a seller here at 44, but what keeps me optimistic about this trade is the higher lows that we've been putting in. So a key hold off the 10 EMA and then higher lows. And there goes SOC. It fills me at 88s, baby. That is, or 82s, excuse me. The high of the day is 88s. We got the 82 beak wetter there. Good run up here on SOC. Shout out to the OG Benton for pointing this one out. I wouldn't have had eyes on this one. And now we are out of shares. So now we're going to wait for a retracement into the 10 EMA on the 5, which is currently showing me the $0.50. We get something like that, I get back in. We're going to keep an eye here on SOC as it rides up possibly into that high day. Now watch for the price spike if this happens. If we clear 88s, which is the current high day, watch for a squeeze into 10. Given that we're so close to that $10 area. What I want to see is how we trade at $10. We know 10 is going to be likely a psychological area of resistance. Look at this one, takeout highs. Now we're into 88s. We're at the high of the day now on SOC, retesting that HOD. There's a new high of day. It is 90. We are on the way up here on SOC. It's going without me, though, because I don't have any more shares. I'm not going to punch in at highs. Here comes 10. 996 high now on the breakout. Great strength, great continuation here, and a great technical hold off the 20 EMA right into that $9 area. 997 high here on SOC as it works in closer to that dollar. And we're sorry for the noise. It is just a test at the moment here in the building. So hopefully that'll be done shortly here. So SOC looking real good. We're going to keep an eye out on that. OPTX, not bad, above in. Still trading a little bit above that $3 area. I'm going to keep my eye out on that one. But I've still got a trade here on PCLA that I'm not loving. Let's just, I have a bias that this one likely squeezes into 5 or into 50 pennies, excuse me. But, you know, does it do it in a straight line, and does it annoy me to hell before it does it? Because I hate trading these south of $1 names. But sometimes you just don't have a choice because there's not a whole lot going. So PCLA in focus here, Hope.
Yeah, for sure. So I took a little bit of a piece on that Amazon that didn't really get anywhere. You can see the market's starting to slow down a little bit here. Strong green candles. First red candle, a bit of a muted action as well, kind of the range of the candle coming down as well. So I'm questioning, are the sellers done for now? NVIDIA is still holding 188.30, so we've been kind of a nice steady grind here. If you look at the SPY is a little bit cleaner. And I spy my little eyes right here. Look at the prior bar hold on a higher time frame here. 15 minutes have been holding pretty nicely. Sure, you get a couple violations. It's a SPY. It's not going to give it to you that easy, right? But you can see the general gist of it is, just a steady buying higher and higher. 687.22 is the current high right there, but I got my eyes on the TQs here as it's doing a little bit of a sideways consolidation, holding that 54.80s here. Let's see if the market catches a little bit of a turn. If I'm looking for the turn on the Nasdaq, I'm going to be maybe using the TQs as a bit of a vehicle here, but I do want to see some of these megs pull back in as well. I felt the tape there on Amazon. There's a bit of a held held bid, maybe not really a held bid, but like a range low happening here on, let's see right here, 231.20. So right here, so that's what I was looking to take it into. It didn't really come in right away, so I'm just like, all right, cool, maybe not yet. But we are consolidating above this structure from before, so do have that on watch. But if that comes in, that'll be a nice confluence for a potential market turn. But if we're going to bid right back up and we're going to have a nice little melt up, have a Santa Claus rally, then
Yeah, what happened to that, man?
I mean, it's people call it out. It's a thing. It's not a thing. I don't really know, but I think there was a post recently. I think one of Videra's infographics that basically showed the past few years. And there's no statistical significance in like from the weeks going into it. So it's just like, all right, cool. It's just something that maybe is on people's wish list.
Yeah, well, that's fair.
But that's what happens
Keyword
with that.
is wish.
Exactly.
Well, there has to be statistical significance because that's basically everything that we're doing. All the TA, all the entries, the exits, trying to put odds on our side. So if we all of a sudden, negate that, then what are we doing over here?
Yeah, exactly.
Michael Noss said the 23rd to the 5th says Racer X9. Okay, understood.
Yeah,
I don't know why
going through Christmas, I guess. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. We'll wait and see if we do catch that later end of the bid. But
be down.
Markets are at all-time highs, right? So
the Katina Man says it's supposed to be the last 6 days of the year and then the first 3 days of the year. So interesting look there. And I also want to mention the Katina Man just put his positions in the chat. He is short AMD. He is short IBIT. He's short IBIT 49.88 against 50. So if you're wondering what the Katina Man is trading, you got to be in the chat. Otherwise, you're not going to know what he's doing. You're not going to know his levels. You're not going to have any idea. So make sure you guys are in the chat. Neil also throws his levels in there at times as well. So both of them are active during the times that they're around during our show, and when they are, they're usually posting their levels in the chat. So we're going to thank the boys for doing that and advise you guys, of course, that their levels are available. So keep your eye out on that. How are we doing over here? Let's take a quick look at the positions. We're long PCLA at 42. We still haven't been stopped out as this one is still doing its thing, trying to accumulate. Now I'm starting to see a possible flat top break through 45. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but look, if the 10 EMA is, if you lose the 10 EMA here, I'm out. It's just really that simple. So I'm not going to be DCAing below the 10 EMA, especially not on this one. We lose the 10 EMA, I'm going to flatten out. That's below 40 pennies. But it does look like it has a bunch of resistance into 45, whether that's a flat top break or whether I'm seeing things that I want to see here. We'll have to wait and see. That's number one. Number two, SOC. Geez Louise, I made a mistake on this one, taking it out too quick. What a beautiful hold up. Shout out to Benton. He's $1 in the money on this one. He's holding 880s. It's showing 92s. It's a 97 high. It feels like it's just a matter of time until that $10 area gets breached with 97. So SOC, I'm trying to look for an area to get in. It's just holding prior bar low. It keeps holding prior bar low, prior bar low. So I've got nothing to do on this one, sadly. I did work my way into RZLT. The reason I did is because, well, we got into the $0.50 and now we're pulling back a little bit over here. We put a hammer candle at 12.25 that closed. And now what I'm looking for is the first 5-minute candle to make a new high subsequent to that hammer candle that bounced off the 20 EMA. So I'm looking for that new high. We haven't quite got it yet. I'm posting at 44s and 46s. Let's see what this one has to offer. Yannick saying SOPA. I don't know why Streamlabs is holding back so many of these comments. It held back Casey's. It's holding back like legitimate comments about tickers over here that have nothing bad about them. SOPA rocketing up. Wowzers. That was a midday mover there. Let's put in SOPA on the side so it can update 21.5% in the Ville of Green, but it did reject that $1.50 area, 149 high, up 21 1/3. 10 EMAs at that 135. It didn't really have a whole lot of volume, saving except for this candle that just closed on on the 5-minute time frame. That candle has 440,000 shares, but when you compare it to the prior candle, 53,000, 36,000, 73,000, 28,000. So, and this one has 700 for whatever reason. So the liquidity on this one could be an issue. You need to be alive to that. SOPA got a good looking chart pattern, up nicely on the day, but liquidity scarce. So be on the lookout for that. That has to form part of your analysis as well. Ozan, does SOPA mean anything in Arabic like wooden stick? Asaya is stick. I don't know what wooden stick would be. Asaya khashaba. Khashab means wood. Asaya means stick, at least in Egyptian Arabic. And again, all of them are a little bit different. So I don't know, Ozan. Does it mean something in Turkish? Is that why I'm wondering? And I know there's a lot of Turkish words in Egyptian Arabic because you guys colonized us for so long. So, you know, we've got that. We always say tamam. We say efendim. Those are all like Turkish words that we still use from the Ottoman Empire days. But that's the look there. So SOC did take out 10. It's a topping tail into 10.01, but this current bar still has is above prior bar low. So you're getting umpteen amount of higher lows here. It could be a squeeze through 10. We're gonna have to see. Zigging and zagging here in the mid to low 90s. What's it called? Looking real good. We're gonna pack our patience there. SOPA is like wooden stick, says Ozan. I didn't know that, man. I didn't know that. Says tamam as well, Armenian. Okay, bro, chill. I realize that there is the beef, but, you know, just take it easy there, brother. Take it easy, I get it. What are you looking at, Ob? Let's change the subject here.
I'm trying to get, well, I try to get short that NVIDIA because the market is, or did look like it was coming in, but getting a bit of a bottom wick here on this 15, and buyers kind of stepping in here as well, 87.75s as well, and there goes the TQs back above 70s there. So yeah, I'm just looking for this to work right away, right? And it doesn't, so I'm out. Where's the next trade? If I'm like, things are bid up so much, and if we're gonna come back in and start to revert, I'd like to be like, okay, well, this should work right away. This should go right away because we've been buying up for so long. What's going on? We got a bit of a dollar club.
Somebody's in the club.
Club.
All right, you can't just hit it and not tell us.
You
Man, the people want to know what's going
in.
on, bro.
Okay.
Okay, so what do we got? We got AMD. The Katina Man is literally short, I think, at the high of the day. And now it's bleeding its own blood. And the Katina Man couldn't be happier because he's printing up a storm. Katina Man, you taking that into VWAP? That's the IBIT trade there. So
nice.
it's also a good one. He doesn't have high a day on that, but it looks fantastic. That's back to AMD. So Katina Man, what's your look there? You're looking for a VWAP retracement? Yeah, that's VWAP, what he keeps pointing at right there. So shout out to the Katina Man. Great look there, brother. Keep killing it and keep putting in your levels in the chat because people are continuing to look for that. Shout out to you. Tamam Effendi, Mac Trader. I like that, my man. Yeah, that's a whole bunch of Turkish words thrown in there that the Egyptian used. Tamam Effendi. I like it. I like it. You guys know
that reminds me of you know that song Tamalli Ma'ak?
Tamalli Ma'ak.
I haven't heard that in the longest time.
Yeah,
you're talking about the
shisha places.
Yes, 100%, bro. They would always play like some great music at all the shisha. I haven't been to a shisha spot in the longest time, dude.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think because one time my sister bought like a really nice shisha for the house, and then we just have that there now, and I'm just like, why would I? And it's so much better. It's one of the shisha bucks, the cube ones, with a beautiful filter, dude. It's like air. It's like it's not harsh. It's not harsh at all. It's like, you know, it's like.
Where do you get the nicotine? Do you go to Lawrence? Because I know you're in Scarborough, or you're in
yeah. Because you know, flavored nicotine is a little hard to come by, but you know.
Not in the Lawrence area, Ob.
No, I mean, no. If you're
get you whatever you want, my man.
Exactly.
You let me know.
Oh boy. Oh my God.
Like I'm talking like I got some sort of
incriminating ourselves here.
I know, right? We're having a good time. Big Rummy for president. I don't even think he's in bodybuilding anymore, Kevin Trades. I know he won Olympia that year, but like I think he's taken a few years off. Yeah. He's still huge. That's what keeps me thinking he's likely going to make a comeback, but I don't think he's competed, I think, for 2-3 years now. Correct me if I'm wrong. Kev trades 93. I do appreciate you saying that, though. That's a good call there. Big Rami. All right, guys. SOC did take out $10 by an entire 4 pennies. But it is still, funny enough, holding trend. The higher lows are still holding. So if you're putting your stop at prior bar low or a little bit below, of course, you're not getting stopped out here on SOC. It's continuing to ride trend, man. So I'm loving this. I want to get in. What's prior bar low? Prior bar low takes me to the 80s. Okay, this candle, okay, so we have a new candle that just opened up. It takes me into low 82. So this candle, higher high and higher low. Are we substantially above 10 now? I don't think so. We're showing 01s or 02s here on the bid, so that's not really it. I have to come back to that one in a second because PCLA is losing 40 and it's going to stop me out here. So we're going to lose 3 pennies per share. I'm flattening out on PCLA. I'm not going to hold this below the 10 EMA. I've made that point very clear. So we're going to take an L here on PCLA, but we're doing it freaking live on RZLT. There it goes back into the $0.50. We got 42s on. We got several profit takers. Let's take another one into the high over here. And now we're going to set up north of the $0.50. Let's go ahead at 52. So good look there. All right, back to SOC. Sorry, I got to digress here. Now, here comes prior bar low. I mentioned prior bar low 82. This current candle. Geez, man, 85. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to get in here because we're so close to prior bar low, it doesn't make sense not to get in. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to give it to 79 just to give it a couple of shekels below prior bar low. And that's what we're doing. How many shares do we have on that one? There we go. So let's go ahead and wait just like that. 89 showing up. Let's go ahead and put some profit takers into the mid to high 90s to see if we can ride trend. If it doesn't, that's fine. I got so close. I got in so close to prior bar low. So, you know, if we lose here, we're not going to lose much. But I am alive to the fact that it is possibly a topping tail candle through 10, especially because 10 is such a key area of psychological resistance. Yeah, so we got stopped out. It lost prior bar low. So that's fine. We'll give back a little bit there, but we had to take that shot given that where we were. And I couldn't be more happy with my out here on PCLA because right when it broke to 10, we stopped out and then it bled another 4 pennies to the downside. So a bit of a down move here in the world of small cap gappers. We need to be alive to that. But look at S-Tech. Okay, who am I going to remove now? I hate PCLA, so we're going to take that off.
Yo,
STEC, sorry, Ob, just got to cover this one quickly. Into the high, S-Tech is breaking out. I'm not seeing, limit up is 81. I just saw that flash. Limit up is 81. We're only showing 64s. But the breakout is aggressive right now on STEC, 73%. In the Ville of Green, 5.7 million shares. The breakout is on now on S-Tech, guys. This could be it. Now, there is support possibly in between 35 to 45 pennies. I would say that would be the buy zone. There's some topping tail candles that show that there was a clear area of resistance there. So keep your eye here on STEC, 6 million or thereabout shares. So the volume is decent even on a dollar name. So I'm going to pack my patience on that one. Alberta beef, love it. Great call on hi-ho, avoiding it, missed a lot of pain. Yeah, it's bleeding its own blood, far below the volume-weighted average price. That's why my rule, man, if it loses VWAP, I'm out. It's really that simple. Machiavelli, check SIDU, S-I-D-U. Neil was talking about that was running yesterday.
Yeah.
It's back above VWAP.
Wow, look at that.
And it has a 165 high. That is an actual official high at 942. I'm going to have to put SIDU on the side. U.S. stock trader daily fair value gap start at 180. I'm assuming you're talking about S-Tech, U.S. stock trader. Michelle Luca. Sharif, how Mo Salah is the king of Egypt at the last minute? I know, you saw that, eh? 91st minute to give Egypt the dub. I'm just happy that Omar Marmoush scored, man, because he's barely getting any playing time with City, and Doku's injured. So he should be starting in place of Doku now. I don't know why Pep doesn't like him, but there's some sort of beef between Pep and Marmoush. I could see him moving, and people apparently are saying that Villa is interested, as well as some other Premier League teams. I don't think he's getting a fair shake at that club, but to be fair, there's a lot of big names. We saw Jack Grealish as well not really get a fair shake there. He couldn't get any playing time, and so he got moved on as well to Everton. So that should be interesting. Obi, you had something to say.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say we're talking about sports. Guess who went to go watch a sporting event with the boys on was it I think Friday? Friday.
Okay, so you went to the Raptors game, Leafs game.
No. We went to like a sports bar.
Oh, okay.
To go watch the fight. You know, I don't usually go to these things.
No, I know you don't.
But it was people call it a sporting event. I thought it was more like a dance-off.
Oh,
we had conversations about like these guys are doing some bachata here. It was kind of funny.
What's bachata?
Like the dance.
I like it.
Yeah.
Did you think that?
Did you watch it at all?
Did you think that the outcome was the right one?
Oh, dude. So here's the thing. There were like bets going around. People betting on
Right.
Poly Market and stuff like that. And I was just like, I looked at the fight because like I haven't done any sort of like martial art. I used to do Muay Thai.
Okay.
Pretty avidly for a very long time.
So?
And I'm just like, I haven't really been involved as much. But I see this guy's like dropping his guard. I'm like, okay, so the other guy is clearly an Olympiad. You can see it. You can see it in his form. You can see it in his form. You can see it in his guard. And the guy is towering over him. I'm like, all right, cool. It's entertainment, right? So how's this going to pan out? I'm like, watch. Before it even starts, I'm like, no. After the first round, I'm like, yo, guys, this is what's going to happen.
Okay.
So this is exactly what's going to happen right now. What's
Oh, Ram. Why?
let me show him some,
Why
show him
Ram?
some stuff.
Where is she?
She's over there. She's over there. So I'm just like, I see the first round. I'm like, okay, this guy's just gonna drag it on because he has to give people a show. Because think about it, he's made more money at this event than his whole Olympic career.
Oh, for
right?
sure.
So he's got to give the people a show. I'm like, all right, we're not gonna go till 8 rounds. Watch 4th, 5th knockout. This guy's dropping his guard way too much. What happened?
He got knocked out.
Boom.
I don't know why he's dropping his guard. That's really the only advantage he had. He had defense. He's not going to knock out Anthony Joshua.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Keep your damn hands up. I don't know. Look, he in 2 areas. Fabian.
I mean, rightfully so. You drop in that guard, you're gonna find out. What do you mean,
bro? Did you see the pictures?
Like, if you're dropping your guard with that kind, you almost deserve to get your jaw broken. Come on, dude, you're slacking.
Bro, hold on, broken jaw. Here it is. I've got to show you
On
guys
2
this.
sides.
This is but it's next level. I know. I'm gonna pull it up on the computer. Sorry,
Okay,
I will.
yeah.
The one in the
Anyway,
hospital bed. The swelling is crazy.
No, of course, I'm sure it is. I'm sure he'll heal fine and everything, but it's just like, come on, you can't go up against
Fabian.
an elite player and not have your guard up.
Well said.
And it reminded me of just like sloppy trading. You can't go up against elite participants without certain types of risk management guards up. You're going to get so sloppy. Forget about a jaw. You're going to get everything broken. You know what I mean? So it's just like, it was interesting to see. It was just just entertainment.
Yeah,
right? It's just entertainment. It's pure entertainment.
Exactly.
A lot of fugazi, definitely a lot of money on the line as well. That's probably why, right? Come on.
There's this
Gets
like
the people going. It's the Roman circus, guys. Come on.
But like, do you notice this like new thing where we're getting a lot of interweight fights because people want to see it? So it's like we're moving away from weight classes, which I think have sound rationale behind them. And we're putting together fights that the people want to see, obviously for marketing purposes, but maybe not great for technical boxing. We'll get to that in a sec, but I want to mention something here. So I'm long here STEC into the $0.50. I'm along at 53, and this current bar has an area low, I believe, 52, so we're defending. Here comes 64, we wet the beak, now we're waiting at 66. This current bar high is 64. So we did get the print at 64, but no continuation above that. STEC currently is him. So if you're looking for one that is breaking out, it's got volume, it's into the highs, it could be a squeeze into 2. I think STEC could be the looker right now. But we're obviously going to practice risk management skills, as Obi just mentioned, especially when we're trading near the highs. So multiple beak wetters looking for more, though, looking for a move above that 65 penny area. But if we get a move into the $0.50 and it loses the $0.50, I'm out, which is fine because I'm long at 53. So it gives me a really good backstop given my entry. So that's number 1. Number 2, how we doing here on RZLT? Where is it at? Well, we've taken multiple profit takers. We're still south of that $0.50. It is a 249 high, now showing 46s. So we're still being plagued here by that $0.50 seller. So we're going to have to keep an eye out on that. A few more minutes, guys, and then we'll start the news segment. There is a whole lot to talk about, believe it or not, even on this shortened day. Some great information coming in from the likes of NVIDIA and AMD. We're going to be talking about possible tailwinds for both those names going into the new year now that President Trump has allowed the export of the H200 as well as an AMD's variation of that, which is the MI308. Could be a great tailwind for them in terms of revenue as well as an EPS bump. But all that contingent upon, of course, the Chinese regulator allowing said purchases, right? Because the Chinese regulator, you know, they're not feeling all these the reliance on American technology. But we did talk about this interesting little tidbit yesterday. Oh, I'm sure we'll get into it. They're thinking about a ratio. So you want to buy 2 American chips, you got to buy 1 Chinese. Okay. So they're kind of trying to put purchase requirements tied to American technology. If ByteDance, Alibaba, Tencent, the big boys in China want to pick up some American stuff, they got to pick up some Chinese stuff as well.
Yeah, I mean, that'll be interesting because like which performs better? If you're forced to buy something, guess what? There's probably going to be a secondary market for that as well. We're going to be like, all right, cool, we'll follow the rules, we'll buy it. We'll use better chips.
And we'll sell it.
And then we'll sell it. Sure, we'll take a little bit of a loss, but we're not taking as much of a loss. So you just got to mitigate some expenses sometimes when stuff is forced down your throat. So, you know, it is what it is. People who run business, they know how to do business. They'll dance around that pretty well. You see Alibaba, a great example of that. Right? The guy disappeared for a couple of weeks, but you know, he's back. He's back. He's the same guy. Don't worry about it. But you know,
people forget about that, man.
I mean, no.
You know, like people, well, I know you don't forget, but people have forgotten about that. That Jack Ma. You don't forgive all the time, but you don't forget. Sometimes you forgive. I like that. All right, we're doing it live, guys. I just punched into a new position here on SOC into the 10 EMA. I'm giving it to prior bar low. It loses prior bar low. I'm so close. My entry's so close to prior bar low. I don't mind entering here and giving it this opportunity, but it does look like it might breach it. So, sucks. RZLT coming back into the 20 EMA that we got in at. So the question for me here is, do I add at this level? Yeah, we're putting in higher highs. I can ride that trend. We'll add a little bit into that one. And then last but not least, the STEC trade that we've got on. Very close to getting stopped out here as that does look like it's topping tail. And we're going to flatten out. Perfect timing as that one loses 50. So we'll take the rest break even there. All hell's breaking loose on that one. Watch out for 140. I want to say between 135 to 140 could be a buy zone here on STEC, given that those were the topping till candles and the area of resistance earlier. I'm talking about the candles from 1045 to about 11, and then I'm also talking about the candles at around 1210. So let's see if this one wants to bleed a little bit more, maybe gives me an opportunity to get in. So that's what I'm looking at there. What do you got?
I'm keeping close eyes on this here market. So we are kind of starting to come in a little bit of a fade happening. Look at the Nasdaq here. 1, 2, 3, 4 red 15-minute candles so far, but we still haven't been able to kind of engulf fully that prior 15-minute candle. So yeah, a little bit of selling happening, but it's kind of like just like very, I guess, tight. So I'm just keeping eyes on it. I don't know what it means. I'm just kind of observing what's happening there on the chart. And we see anything distinctly different, I do want to participate. But 188's back through. Like, look, I punched in on this sell because I'm like, all right, let's see if we go now. The flow's kind of coming in. I don't know how long it's going to be there, but can't really get through that first quarter, that 87.75, and then we start to bid back in. I'm like, all right, we're probably going to print 88 holes again, so get out of there. And just watching the market here, I do want to take this reversion if it's going to have me. But if it's not going to be there, then you know, it's fine. Where's the next trade? Where's the next opportunity is what I'm looking for. If it's not a reversion, it's usually a price action trade or a quick scalp as well, like you see here, quick little scalps as well. But yeah, no, I see you got that picture up. That was
what?
I mean, you know,
hell is
what's crazy? He could have taken that same opportunity multiple times. He just you could tell he just chose not to. He chose not to.
What are you talking about?
Oh, like
Anthony
prior rounds. Yeah.
Look at this. The swelling here is ridiculous. I get he had surgery on it, and that's why it's swollen. But that is just crazy. Yeah. look at Logan Paul. Yeah. Why is he standing there?
Yeah, he was standing like that there the whole time.
Oh my
He's
God.
probably still standing there. I don't know.
Remember when these two were supposed to fight each other? What ended up happening to that?
I have no idea.
Yeah, that was.
I told you, I normally would not be at that kind of nice. That's jokes. Look at that one right there.
What the hell is that?
But you know, it's
What is that?
we were having a night out, and the boys were like, "Yeah, let's go watch the game." I'm like, "Yeah, sure, let's go for some more." Yeah, no, fun stuff for sure. Where is the next trade? That's what I'm looking at. These TQs starting to bleed off a little bit. We gave up a bit of the trend here, a bit of a hold of that 5480s happening here as the market takes a little bit of a turn. Maybe I gotta wait for more. You can see here, this first initial opening candle was aggressively strong. Let's measure this now. I know there's a measuring tool here. So boom, right here. See how big that first candle was. So that was about almost 0.2%. 15-minute bar on the Nasdaq, and then that's where we found a little bit of resistance, and we pulled all the way back in for a full 100% wipe of that candle. That was absolutely beautiful. Great reversion. But we got the reversion of the reversion. We're pulling back in after breaking out back into that opening range high. So understandable if we pull back in and that resistance now turns into support after breaking through it, right? So that's what I'm watching for right now. These 188s are holding pretty nicely going into the end of the midday session here. So that's all I really have on watch. Let me know what you guys are watching as well. I know some of these small caps are moving around, and let's just take a look at some of these volume leaders on the day and see how they're doing as well. Some of these small caps will be on here because they are doing some decent volume. Let's not look at a 1 minute. You know what? I like the 3 minute. Let's just stick with the 3 minute there.
I like it.
Yeah, I like the 3 minute. I know people like to use the 1 minute, the 2 minute, the 3 minute. You use whatever you want, man. Just you know, manage yourself accordingly. Okay, so OPTX. Okay, so bit of a sideways range here. $3 seems like it's been a bit of a range high here. We attempted to get through this pre-market high. Look at how beautiful this reversion was, Sharif. We get through that pre-market high where sellers have already shown themselves and drop it back down off of the open. We attempt to break, and that breaks by what? Like what, 4 pennies? No, okay, 43 was the high, 51s. So just a few penny break there, slaps right back in, and then sellers start to break this trend, which brings us all the way down to VWAP, consolidation, continuation, all the way down to range lows from this pre-market session here. That was beautiful. Didn't really participate in it. Again, this is all in hindsight, retrospect, whatever, but price action is definitely there. If you're watching it and you're able to do some real-time assessment, that'll be pretty good there. So NVIDIA we're already watching pretty closely, and it's a very, very big, strong stake on the day as of right now. TIVC, what's happening over here? Tivic Health Systems not looking too healthy as it breaks down below this opening range low at $2, trading at 181s now. Maybe this is news driven, I have no idea, but 210 breakdown, and I think we got a call for Dara.
Good.
Did I say we did?
Okay, just go to her, brother. This guy. Oh, you don't want to go anymore?
Okay.
Okay, we'll start with the news. We'll start the news. Do you have anything you wanted to add, Ope?
No, I'm just looking at that TIVC there.
Okay, let's get to the news because we're almost 1 o'clock, 2 to 1. Okay, good,
all right.
good. All right, let's get right down to work. The main headline of the day, I think that we all saw this morning, is that the GLP-1 world now has a pill. So Novo, sorry, give me a second here. I don't want to use these ones. I want to use my highlighted notes. So we're going to open up. We'll go copy. There we go. Pardon me. And then we'll close that bad boy. So Novo Nordisk shares surge after the FDA clears the first ever GLP-1 pill. They secured FDA approval for the first oral pill, launches with 1.5 milligrams as the starting dose, and it's going to be available early January. Introductory price, highlight that, introductory price of $150 per month, but when you compare that to what you're paying for the injectables, we're talking $600, $700 per month, sometimes a bit more. You can get subscription services with Hims and Hers and stuff that knocks off about $100 a month, but this is substantially less than the injectable version. It also, with this $150 price tag, it aligns with Washington's broader push to lower out-of-pocket out-of-pocket drug costs, making access and affordability the key differentiator here. Okay. And, you know, it's not without competition. We know Eli Lilly really putting on, hitting the accelerator pad, accelerator pedal, excuse me, to get their own oral pill to market, so much so that they've received a special permission from the FDA to speed up the approval process. Of course, one must feel here that the American regulator likely wants the American company to win rather than the European counterpart. So we're going to have to see exactly how quickly that one makes it to market. Analysts note that Novo's clinical data looks very strong with better tolerability and efficacy versus Lilly's pill. So even if Lilly can get it to market, analysts are liking Novo's a bit better. And that's kind of been a bit of a switching of the tables here because Lilly's injectables have been better tolerated and better received by the market, hence the divergence in the stock price as of late. The approval caps a volatile year for Novo, though, marked by boardroom issues, supply constraints, and criticism around U.S. execution. Analysts are emphasizing now that execution matters more than the science. So it's not just good enough, according to the analysts, to have that more superior pill, but you're going to actually have to market it and get it to market in a way that is as advantageous as your competitors. So NVO, nice bull flag breaking out there, but a little bit off the highs.
Yeah, a little bit off the highs here. So I'll tell you in the morning why I looked at this and I was like, I just want to sell every price here on the day. I'm just like, all right, let's see how far this can run up. Sure, I have an ultimate stop, which it never really kind of pushed into. But yeah, it gave a beautiful range and it gave a decent reversion to a certain area here. So that's what I want to kind of point out. So bigger picture, what was happening here? We get some really strong bullish news. We wipe up. Let's take a look at a higher time frame here. So this is what let's just go to a multi-hour chart here. You can see here, we've been in a pretty strong downtrend. Okay. Take a look at this volume that happened on, I think, what was this, Q3 results or something like that. But in August, the earnings in August. So right before that, we had that strong flush. Before those earnings, downtrend happening very nicely. So what am I looking at here? Let's throw on the indicators that I had on watch, right? Bigger picture, take a look at this trend break, man. This trend break was absolutely solid. Right here, multi-year. Talk about a beautiful swing short on a higher time frame. This thing was trending since 22 to 24. Right, September to September, right here. Beautiful trend, finally breaks. Take a look at that. I have it anchored at the break of that trend, and that anchored was respected very, very well. Very well. We're coming into the anchored of this aggressive, strong volume candle, which was an event, right? So there's a lot of supply that's just sitting up here. There's a lot. Sure, long term, you want to buy these prices, whatever, you like the news, it doesn't matter, I don't care. But this morning, I came in, I was like, I will provide the liquidity. So, all right. So what's happening here specifically? So strong push, prior day, gap up right here. Let's go to a daily chart to get a better perspective of this. We gap up, we fill this gap right here. People like gap fills right there. We filled this gap into the high a day of that down day that we did have coming into earnings. So I'm just like, all right, there was supply here before, just keep it simple. I'm gonna look for supply here once again. On the day, still, the trade hasn't really followed through. I was looking, again, I'll say it again, looking to take inventory through this day low. But the short, if you were quick and fast, this short was probably the best one. This nice, beautiful reversion, pull up into 53s, pull back in, and then holding 52s. The news is good, the news is solid, right? And I think maybe longer term, we might have a bit of a push here. Maybe we finally break this downtrend because we've kind of come up onto this anchored here. But again, we have a lot of headwind here to get through, regardless of how strong this news is, right? Positioning, I think, is a little bit important here, and how have people been positioning into some of this move. So, and how has the sentiment been after that strong trend break of that multi-year trend break? So, that's the look I had this morning on Novo. Let's see how it pans out.
All right, we got to go to Adira for news, but Adira also will give us your take on NVO.
Yeah, I think with NVO, Novo Nordisk really needed a win. We know they've been kind of beat up as opposed to Lilly, both in the stock and I think in terms of sentiment. So nice win for Maziar Magdustar, their CEO. And he said they want to do more M&A. He said that this morning after we know they lost that Metsara deal to Pfizer. So I think this is a nice look for NVO, but I want to focus here on this new post from US President Donald Trump. It is all about the market. It is all about the Fed. So I'm just going to read the whole thing, and it is kind of long. I do apologize. The Trump rule. The financial news today was great. GDP up 4.2%. It was actually 4.3%, as opposed to the predicted 2.5%, actually 3.3%. And this despite the downward pressure of the recent Democrat shutdown. But in the modern market, when you have good news, the market stays even or goes down because Wall Street's, quote, heads are wired differently than they used to be. In the old days, when there was good news, the market went up. Nowadays, when there is good news, the market goes down because everybody thinks interest rates will be immediately lifted to take care of, quote, potential inflation. That means essentially we can never have a great market again. Those markets from the time when our nation was building up and becoming great. Strong markets, even phenomenal markets, don't cause inflation. Stupidity does. I want my new Fed chairman to lower interest rates if the market is doing well, not destroy the market for no reason whatsoever. I want to have a market the likes of which we haven't had in many decades. A market that goes up on good news and down on bad news the way it should be and the way it was. Inflation will take care of itself, and if it doesn't, we can always raise rates at the appropriate time. But the appropriate time is not to kill rallies, which could lift our nation by 10, 15, and even 20 GDP points a year, and maybe even more of that. A nation can never be economically great if eggheads are, quote, are allowed to do everything within their power to destroy the upward slope. We're going to be encouraging the good market to get better rather than making it impossible for it to do so. We're going to see numbers that are far more natural and far better than they've ever seen before. We are going to, all caps, make America great again, exclamation point. The United States should be designed for all cap success, not brought down by it. And here is the key point. This is what he ties it off with. Anybody that disagrees with me will never be the Fed chairman. That's the Trump post. I do apologize for the link there, but I think it's important to kind of understand all of it. Back to you.
I'm really rich.
Get it?
It's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more.
It's up a fifth. And where's the Russ at? Although the Russ is actually negative on the day, down 0.5%. Are you good with NVO? Do you have any other comments on that?
Those are the only comments I had. But yeah, no, it's just like sometimes you got to remember, the market sometimes goes through certain cycles where, like, you know, good news is good news.
Yep.
And then bad news is bad news. And then it flips the script, and sometimes good news is bad news and bad news is good news. Well said. And that's just, I think that's irrelevant to, like, you know, who's in office, whatever. That's just one of the cycles that sometimes the market or specific stocks go through. So just keep that in mind.
Well said. Let's go on to the next story. What do we got here? We got Tesla. Canaccord giving them the nod today on the price target, despite what Canaccord gauges as a near-term delivery cut. We'll get to that in a second. So they did raise the price target up from 482 to 581 and maintain the same buy rating they had. They did reduce, though, the amount of deliveries that they expect Tesla to come with in Q4, down from 470,000 cars to 427. They argue, though, that the recent price action is suggesting to them, anyway, that they're looking past Q4 deliveries and they're focusing instead on the improving medium to longer term fundamentals. We'll talk about what that means in a second. They did view, though, the end of the EV subsidies back in September. We're talking about that $7,500 subsidy at the federal level as a necessary reset that could actually ultimately create a healthier and more durable demand environment because it doesn't inject artificial subsidies into a market. The near-term drag on demand is acknowledged, but analysts believe the reset is forcing rationalization, especially in terms of price and product offering across the entire EV market. They say Tesla's scale, as well as integrated manufacturing model, we know that they are vertically integrated better than any other vertically integrated EV company other than BYD, of course, positions it better than its peers to absorb the transition. And they like the international growth. It's not exactly rocketing up, certainly not in Europe. We know that for a fact, but they are picking it up pretty aggressively. Vietnam, Thailand, Brazil, all are growth drivers according to Canaccord, and they expect that to partially offset local weakness in the North American market as well as Europe, of course. And they're pumped, Obi, about the robotaxi rollout progressing nicely, they say, and we've seen videos, of course, in Austin, in San Francisco Bay Area, but I have to caveat that the robo-taxi in the San Francisco Bay Area does actually have a driver in the driver's seat because they don't have the go-ahead from the DMV there or the state regulators. So the way they've gotten around that was they plucked some dude or some person in the driver's seat. They're not touching it, so it's technically unsupervised FSD. It's not the supervised FSD, but they just put them in there anyway to meet regulations.
That's interesting. I wonder if they you know, how much they're getting paid relative to like other drivers, because you're just like you're just there for like, you know, risk management. You're just, you know, you're just sitting there doing nothing. You're like, if something happens, I'll do something. But yeah, no, that's interesting. I think they do have potential, maybe some potential risks of market share grab from people like Waymo and some of the other things that are being accepted. But bigger picture, man, like I think this is a very, very strong for Tesla, and the price action is kind of speaking for itself as well, where it's kind of, again, continuing to do more of the same as it has been over the past couple of years, which is the stair-step squeeze I always talk about, right? So it's just like wind up, wind up, wind up, nice little stair-step squeeze. Now this is my Tesla chart. You can see I may or may not be a little involved in this name here, but bigger picture. Nice little step up into all-time highs. So yeah, I guess people are taking this sentiment pretty nicely. Yeah, that's all I really have for Tesla there. I think it is very strong in terms of a forward look. They're doing other things, not just with EVs, with batteries, with Optimus as well. Maybe they can have an Optimus sitting in the driver's seat as well.
I would like that. I would like that greatly. I'd like an Optimus to, you know, do the chores around the house.
Oh, definitely.
That'd be fantastic.
I think that's definitely coming. You saw the video where the Optimus was doing all those chores.
I did.
And it was doing like the laundry and opening the door and everything.
You know, they train it on like actual things.
Yeah,
so
which is amazing. Because you got to remember, this guy, like, you know, a lot of people have their own opinions on Elon, but you got to remember, this guy is like pure savant. Right, you're not going to understand what this guy, what his game plan is, but he's running AI. He's got some of the best batteries. He's got robots now. He's got artificial intelligence. Right, so it's just like like if you really think about it, look at the bigger picture that's coming together. I say this all the time. When you look at the mission statement for Tesla, they are an energy company. That's their mission statement. Sure, that might be their product right now, and it doesn't matter. But what's their goal? What's their future goal? You can see that bigger picture all coming together. You guys know that meme from Emperor's New Groove where Gronk is just like, oh yeah, it's all coming together now? No. All right, well, it's all coming together now.
Yeah, you'd be used to this if you were Joseph, because he's always trying to tell me about movies and I got no idea. I do apologize.
Oh, good. It's an older movie.
Yeah. I usually know the older movies, though, not the newer ones. Anyway, Adara, give us your take, please, on Tesla.
Yeah, my take is I'm not feeling super good here about these Tesla deliveries, and I think it's interesting too. I was looking into this, I'm gonna eventually do an infographic on it once we get more analyst opinions, but like even the Canaccord Genuity here estimate to 427,000, that's actually on the high side here. And again, I'm seeing talks, apparently the street estimate for these Q4 deliveries, the street average is like 440,000. Based on all the averages I've seen, I'm not quite sure how we're getting there because everything I've seen is markedly below 440,000. New Street Research, median here of 425,000. Deutsche Bank, 405,000. UBS just lowered theirs to 415,000 today, and they maintain their sell rating and $247 price target in Tesla. So not a great look. I do think, though, to talk on this Canaccord note a bit, one thing I think is actually kind of crucial in a good way is it's part of this whole trend and shift that we're seeing with TSLA being more than just an auto company. They say, hey, deliveries aren't going to be great. We admit that, but we still believe in the company. And so I think with that in mind, really not a bad look here for Canaccord, for TSLA.
The next story, Alphabet acquires Intersect to accelerate its DC data center, of course, and its power build-out. So Alphabet announced it's going to acquire Intersect, which is a data center and an energy infrastructure company, for the cheap price of $4.75 billion. It's all going to be in cash, and they will assume the debt of Intersect. They will remain operationally independent, Intersect that is, but the deal is designed to speed up data center and power generation capacity, two of the main bottlenecks we know for AI, at least for the hyperscalers. The acquisition is expected to close in the first half of 2026. No details other than that. We know, of course, that Google is under pressure to spend. They've been spending, but when they look at their competitor, OpenAI, who's committed $1.4 trillion, albeit, you know, subject to how they will fund that, Google finds itself here maybe a little bit behind in CapEx. Intersect, a little bit more information on the company. They will work closely with Google's technical infrastructure team to add a co-located data center as well as a power site in Texas. The deal enhances Google's ability to build power generation in lockstep with new data centers, and CEO Pichai emphasizing the flexibility and speed. And they've already done business together, these two companies. Google's already committed, I mentioned, $40 billion to Texas through 2027. And Intersect previously partnered with Google as well as TPG Rise Climate to develop gigawatts of new energy in the U.S. data center capacity alongside $20 billion in renewable power plan by the end of the decade, not still built out. Google's already holding a minority stake in Intersect, so this just finalizes the entire thing where they buy them outright, OB. So Google trying to hold here, I would say. It's been holding decently above 300, broke it a few times, I think, maybe, but right back above it.
Yeah, just holding structure here as well. And I think this is kind of natural, right? This is where we're headed. The whole AI space is trying to grow, and you're going to want to acquire more resources in order for that growth to be sustainable. So I think this is a natural course of things. So when we see things like this happen, where it's just like, okay, well, you know, we're acquiring more data centers, you know, they're headed in the right direction for future, for a forward look. So I think maybe if, you know, I don't know what how investors might be able to see that or might perceive that, but for me, I'm just like, okay, you know, they're taking the right steps for potential growth, and I think that's pretty good. And you're going to see more and more of that as they get bigger because the compute is increasing. Like look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA is getting just bigger and bigger. Those are the chips. And then these guys, you know, data centers. That's part of the whole picture. So we talk about you've seen the picture where, you know, with all the tech companies in a circle. So you know you're gonna get way more of this, and I think it's a good thing as well. So price action, nice structure hold of that 300, holding higher. Again, pushed all-time highs just very recently, 33276 I have on Google, and that was just a few weeks ago. So yeah, some strength coming in off of that 300 as well. If the market tailwind continues, it's up and away, I'd say.
All right, so this next story here was about the Waymo robo-taxis that were glitching during the San Francisco power outage, but we brought that story to you guys yesterday as well as showed you the videos of it. Today, the only part that I want to add to the story is it's now under investigation. The California Public Utilities Commission, as well as the DMV, confirmed is reviewing the incident, though it has not specified what aspects of Waymo's response are under examination. The DMV and the CPUC both jointly regulate autonomous vehicle testing. In case you're wondering what I'm talking about, there was power outages all over San Francisco and the traffic lights weren't working. Waymo was programmed to treat these as a four-way stop, but because of the number of traffic lights that were out, it glitched, and then they just basically blocked traffic. We showed you a similar video of Tesla navigating the intersections much more easily, but to be fair, there are way more Waymos on the road in the San Francisco Bay Area than there are Tesla robotaxis. So just want to throw that out there for the sake of impartiality. Let's go on to another autonomous vehicle driving story, Zoox, which is Amazon's throw into that. They're recalling some vehicles here. I think it already got dealt with, but we want to let you know about this because this is part of a burgeoning area right now, autonomous vehicles. Their Zoox division is recalling 332 vehicles in the U.S. due to a software flaw for its ADS, its autonomous driving system. It affects certain ADS-equipped vehicles running software that was released before the 19th of December, according to the NHTSA, which has already been briefed on the matter. Regulators warned the flaw could cause vehicles at or near intersections to cross the yellow center line or stop in front of oncoming traffic. Obviously, not a good thing. We've seen Waymos as well misinterpret cones and then go into oncoming traffic. I showed that to you guys a few days ago. That was also in San Francisco, not during the power outage though. Zoox has issued a free software update to correct the problem. It follows a prior recall for the company of 270 vehicles back in May after a San Francisco crash prompted updates to pedestrian tracking and close proximity behavior. We've seen that one online. So Amazon has had a tough go of it the year here, Obi. It is the worst performing Mag 7 name behind Apple. They're up 5.5% year to date. Apple is about 9%. Followed then by, I believe, Meta, which is up about 13 2/3. So what do you make of Amazon? Anything you want to comment on here?
So this news came out this morning, the ZUX news. All right, so here's the thing, man. I think these guys are trying to, they have their hands and feet in pretty much everything. They're kind of a little bit like Google, but maybe a little bit more, obviously a little bit more retail as well. But I guess that adds confluence for the breakout that happened this morning that I was watching, the 229 halves. That was a held kind of a level since last Thursday. You can see here maybe some supply coming in here as well, maybe some a little bit of support turned into resistance here on a shorter time frame, but this was very obvious. Whenever we came into 229s, selling. Today was the day we actually got above and held 230 as a bit of support. So a nice stair step up. Was it on that news? I don't know. We weren't really doing a relative volume in the morning, so I didn't really, look for that news. But I guess it's interesting to know that they're kind of expanding some of their revenue streams as well, getting into that game. They're just like, I don't know what their game plan is necessarily, but
Joey always talks about him. He's like all pumped about ZUX because like there's no front to the car. Have you seen this thing?
No, I haven't. Let's
let me
take a look. There's no front to the car. So
no,
it's just
like,
the back.
It's
just seats in the back.
It's just like they look the same. So let's show you. ZOOX, ZOOX car, not careers. Goof. There we go. If we could show my.
It's not a car.
Please.
That's the. Oh, okay.
Yeah, these ones. So like they look the same. You know what I mean? Like. But I kind of don't mind that. The
looks like the designer was a little zooked while kind of drawing that on the board there. But that's interesting. It's like a little, it's like a little box.
It is a little box. It's effective if you're actually just autonomous vehicles. There's no need to have a front and back of the car. I mean, it doesn't really make much of a difference.
Like, so we talk about how people used to say that elevators were kind of how do you say, they had operators in the past,
right?
Where someone would drive the elevator up and down or whatever,
right?
And they would compare that to EVs and be like, eventually it'll be like an elevator. You just press a button and it takes you to where you need to go,
right?
And this is reminding me exactly of that, where it's just like, it's not really, doesn't even look like a car anymore. No. You just said, this is where I need to go. You hop in and it takes you there. It's more like.
You're well said.
That's basically an elevator on wheels.
Except,
literally.
Yeah. So you kind of notice here.
I actually like that.
Yeah, look, I want to point out, clearly this is using LiDAR. Yeah, exactly. And then, Elon always caught crapping on LiDAR. Whether LiDAR ends up being like the technology that we need or not, ZUX is using it. I think Tesla's the only one having a go with the neural network. So interesting look there. Let's go on to the next story. Obi, this is important here because now we're talking about possible new revenue coming in for the monsters AMD and NVIDIA. As we know, China's GPU now sales are reopened to American companies with President Trump allowing the H20 to be exported to, or H200, excuse me, to be exported to China. He likewise gave authority or the permission for the MI308, which is AMD's version, to be exported as well. And now analysts are giving us what we could see in terms of revenue generation as a result of that barrier removal. So according to Raymond James analyst Simon Leopold, a bullish scenario for AMD, now we're talking about AMD here, could deliver about $500 to $800 million in incremental AMD revenue, which would translate to about 10 to 20 pennies per share EPS, right, on a non-GAAP upside. Market chatter, though, is centering around the China compliant accelerator, which is tied to Alibaba. We gave you the story yesterday with unconfirmed reports that Baba may be ordering 40 to 50,000 MI308 units, potentially ordered. Again, not confirmed. A midpoint assumption here, if you were to take the midpoint between the 245,000 and a $15,000 ticket price, that could imply about $675 million in revenue, though that is likely spread across multiple quarters. So, or AMD unlikely to realize 675 on in one quarter. For NVIDIA, apparently, according again to Raymond James, the opportunity is materially larger. We're talking about $7 to $12.5 billion in potential incremental revenue if limited shipments to China are removed, mostly by the Chinese regulator now, not the American regulator. That revenue would equate to about 15 to 30 pennies EPS on a non-GAAP basis for 26. Speculation is focusing on a partial restart of the H200 shipments with internet firms and hyperscalers in China potentially involving tens of thousands of units with longer term volumes, according to the analysts, reaching maybe 350,000 to 500,000 over time. So there are key uncertainties, again, whether or not the U.S. regulator or, the U.S. legislative branch would pass some sort of bill to block that. We'll have to see if President Trump vetoes that. And whether the Chinese regulator themselves will allow that many chips, American-made chips, to come into China. We've heard them in the past say, there's backdoors, kill switches, et cetera, with respect to the H20. Yesterday, we gave you a bit of a different take. We said the Chinese regulator may be allowing these ones to come in en masse, but they would put a stipulation with their own tech companies that they had to buy Chinese chips in addition to picking up an American chip. So there would be like a 2-to-1 ratio or something like that. Again, unconfirmed reports. So good luck today for NVIDIA. We're up 2.5. Bad luck for AMD. It's down 0.02.
Yeah, I think they're talking specifically about NVIDIA. So AMD, you can look for what do you call maybe a sector play or a confluence play, but the thing is, NVIDIA is very clearly where the bid has been, right? You can see that bid coming in last Friday, consolidation on Monday. So again, we get a nice classic consolidation leg. You can see how strong and aggressive it is right now as well. So higher time frame, guys, what has been happening here? Let's go straight up to multi-hour right here. You can see a bit of a lower highs and a bit of a hold of this 170-ish area here. We've been holding that since about, July. We've held a pretty decent support in and around that area here on NVIDIA. But okay, so I'm gonna throw up my lines. But there's just one that I want to focus on. There's a lot in there. Some of them I forget to delete. That's the thing. That's my mistake. Some of them I forget to delete. But it's this one right here where we've been making these lower highs, right? So we kind of, as of today, we're kind of breaking that trend. So not only do you have traders who are like, okay, this is great news, you also have a technical traders who are taking that breakout of trend. Right? So that kind of explains why NVIDIA could potentially, again, just a guess, just a theory, why potentially it just has such an aggressive bid on the day today. And it has not been failing. And that's going to keep the market up as well. Right? This is exceptionally strong, and it's not doing it on any sort of relative volume either. No. So it's just like, okay, maybe there's a lot of participants kind of coming in. Sure, it's again holiday trading. Yep. At the same time, when you get some of these breaks on a lower volume, you can just kind of just steady grind up. There's no real sellers to kind of step in and be like, all right, maybe this has gone too far. But we're seeing that strength. That's again very, very positive news. There was a whole thing where NVIDIA was moving around where they were like, oh, China chip ban, boom. We saw how the price action came in. We saw how participants reacted to some of that news. Now, when you're going to take that back, when you're going to play that dance, right? Sure, the reaction back might not be the same, but I think we can look for that reversion to happen. Right? Sure, it's not going to be like a price reversion, but it's somewhat of a situational change, right? Where you're just like, okay, there's a big market share that we took away. We're going to say that's not going to happen. And then now we've been kind of dancing around the idea that like, okay, maybe it can happen. Now it's like, okay, it's going to happen. And then the bid steps right back in. The price action naturally has been pretty healthy for the upside.
Yeah, it has been, yeah. So, it's a little zig and zag, but you're generally, I want to mention, guys, SOC is continuing to go here. It's well above 10 now, 1022 high, continuing to run. It's been a real good looker on the day. Shout out to Benton, up 33%. I want to say, it's been less inclined to bamboozle you. It's not going to be without bamboozlement. That is just part of the nature of small cap gappers, but not too much in the way of breaches of technical levels, and seems to be putting in higher highs and higher lows. So SOC in focus. Let's talk a little bit about Paramount Skydance sweetening that Warner Brothers Discovery bid, but big holders still not convinced. So let's talk about this. Paramount Skydance raised their offer for WBD, but key shareholders say the revised terms are still not compelling enough to tender shares. We're specifically talking about Harris Oakmark, which is WBD's 5th largest shareholder, signaled it would not tender under the current proposal from Paramount Skydance, but called the changes by Paramount necessary but insufficient. So a first step, you get a feel, but not enough to kind of move the needle. Paramount, with the revised offer, now lifted its hostile bid up to $108.4 billion, increasing the breakup fee from just $5 billion up to $5.8. That would be the money Warner Brother gets scot-free and clear if the regulator was to say, can't do this, and Warner Brothers would just take that $5.8 billion without having any sort of contractual obligation to Paramount to return it or give it back or anything like that. They also revised Larry Ellison's role in backing this. So Oracle co-founder Larry, Big Larry E., whose family controls Paramount, personally guaranteed $40.4 billion of the bid to improve the certainty. That had been one of the negotiated or the key sticking points that Big E was not, backing this, and there was concern about where they would get the funds, Paramount that is. Paramount also added protections to match a competing bid from Netflix, though it did not raise the $30 per share headline price. Let's talk about Netflix's competing offer. They revised their offer as well, up to $23.25 a share. Below that, obviously, $30 a share offered by Paramount. That remains on the table, while lower on price, of course, WBD's board views Netflix financing as more secure and executable, their words. Their board also emphasized Paramount's offer exposes a shareholder to more risk if the approval stalls or if Big E doesn't actually guarantee it. WBD shareholders now have until the 21st of January of next year to decide on Paramount's tender. That was extended from the previous deadline of January 8th. Now it's the 21st. And large investors, they argue Warner Brother Discovery's top shelf media assets, we're talking about the HBO Maxes, DC, franchises like Harry Potter, they're being undervalued by Paramount's bid, despite the fact that Paramount has offered to take on the legacy media assets of WBD and not have to actually wait for those to be divested as the Netflix offer requires. So a whole bunch of, back and forth with this deal. Obi, What do you make of this, and anything you can tell us about the price action?
No, I think we're in a bid war. Right? Essentially, we're in a bid war, and one of the participants might be buddy-buddy with the president.
He is. We know that.
It's just like, okay, cool. Things are up and in the air.
Yep.
I've been watching this since that news came out, and it's been pretty nice. It's a buyout with Momo. Like, what more can I ask for? And it's been pretty nice here. You can see the nice little pop there when I think that was the Paramount news there a couple days ago. But yeah, we've been kind of consolidating. $30 bid was the last one, I think they said, right? They were like, oh, $30. That's what they were talking about. But we've been kind of trending up pretty decently since the initial news here. You can see in the past, sorry, not in the past. Let me get to in the past first, or later. But you can see here, nice little pop into the 20s. First it was 20, now we got 20 and some change. Then we talk about 30. We're basically stepping up. And essentially, I guess this is maybe what you want to see on a bid war, where participants are actually willing to step up and be like, okay, you know what? They say 30, I'm going to say 31, 32, 33, 34, whatever, right?
Right.
Here's the thing technically, which I find absolutely beautiful. Now, this could have absolutely no relation, but let's take a quick look at the weekly chart here, right?
How are we looking over?
Guess what? One of the strongest bids that WBD had, we'll talk about this in a second, but was this 08, right? Okay. This thing was almost down in the dumps, below its opening low. I'm pretty sure that's when it IPO'd in 05. I do have to make sure and check. Regardless, doesn't matter. This was a 4-year bid, from 4 to 5 year bid, 08 to 13. Wow. Very strong. So if I keep it simple, there were very strong buyers there before. We had strong buyers here, whatever happened here, this huge parabolic move as well, very strong buyers. We come all the way back in, and we're getting buyers in a similar area as well. Sure, now it's buyout driven. It's driven by a bid war, but it's beautiful to me that there were buyers there before. There's buyers there again for whatever reason. It's just interesting to me. Just a side note. It means absolutely nothing. So. But yeah, I do like that. We're basically, at one point out, we're in a bid war, and anything can really happen. I'm not really one side or the other, but on certain days, it seems like it's a great trading vehicle.
Makes sense. Okay. Adara, give us your take on the tie-up.
I have strong thoughts on this, and I think the one thing I really want to say is the fact that the only shareholder from Warner Brothers that we've heard from, is Harris Oakmark. So this fifth largest shareholder, this is the second time they've commented. Last time they commented late last week saying, hey, you know, we're not really interested in Paramount here, but if they can give us a better offer, then we're interested. Then PSKY gives a better offer, they're like, we're still not interested. In my opinion, we should not really be gauging the strength of Paramount's bids based on Harris Oakmark's response as a result, because again, they're the only person we're hearing from. They're not the largest shareholder, they're the fifth largest. Still significant, but by no means are they the controlling factor. And again, I think it's also worth noting here, Warner Brothers and Netflix came to this deal together, right? We have the announcement, they're both on the same page. This is markedly different from, again, I will constantly use this as an analogy because I think it's pretty apt. The Metsera, Novo Nordisk, Pfizer situation, right? In that situation, we had Pfizer making an unsolicited offer to Metsera. Metsera said no. Novo Nordisk makes its own unsolicited offer, et cetera, we go back and forth. In this case, this was not an unsolicited offer. Warner Brothers and Netflix come together, they go in cahoots, and they say, hey, this is happening. So I think PSKY already is going to have a bit of, whatever the opposite of a leg up is, a leg down in this deal as a result. And I think the fact that the Larry Ellison involvement has not given them more credit in the eyes of Warner Brothers, I think that is really significant. I said pretty early on, I didn't think PSKY, or I thought PSKY would maybe end up getting this deal. The more this unfolds, the more I think WBD and Netflix are probably going to end up having this deal come together.
Of course, the decider is the regulator, and the regulator is the president. So we're going to have to see how that all works out. Zim, integrated show. First of all, thank you, Minnesota Trader, for the $2 super chat. I don't get it, though, brother. Walls, I get it. Yeah, Tim Walls, you're from Minnesota. I get all that. But I don't understand Walls Act. You're going to have to explain it to me. I didn't get it. I asked you in the chat, but I don't think you responded to me there. Thank you, in any event, for the $2 super chat. Appreciate the love from the great state of Minnesota. Let's go on here to Zim. Integrated shipping surges on a strategic review. They jumped 13% yesterday in the aftermarket. Obviously, it's a little bit lower. It was about 7%, give or take, in the pre. Let's see where it's at right now. ZIM up 6.6. After the company confirmed it has received multiple proposals from strategic parties as a part of its ongoing review of strategic alternatives. What do those strategic alternatives look like? We're talking about potential sales scenarios, capital allocation changes, as well as return of capital options, obviously through a dividend or some sort of share buyback. Zim disclosed it received a revised proposal from an entity controlled by the CEO of the company, Eli Glickman, and the shipping executive, Rami Ungar. The board determined, though, that the offer significantly undervalued the company, and they formally rejected it. The interest, though, in the company seems to be the glowing part, though. So this follows earlier reports that Haplag Lloyd had submitted an offer for Zim, highlighting, you know, that industry-level consolidation interest. I was involved in that ETF boat for a little bit, but it did nothing, so I got out of it flat. But the fact that there are multiple proposals are in play and at least one was rejected is kind of raising the hope of analysts here that their higher bids could be coming on improved terms. So Zim, Obi, I mean, I don't know if this is one that you follow a lot. It had a nice bump up today, but really kind of selling off highs.
Yeah, no, I don't necessarily follow this, but it seems like there's been a bit of a run from the lows into this. We had nice earnings, was it day 2, day 3, day 4, whatever, post earnings, the earnings range kind of broke out. And then into this news, yeah, we got a strong push in the pre-market today. Sorry, yeah, let me make this a little bit bigger here, because the chart was kind of thing. Thanks, Fabian. All right, so we did get a push, right? And okay, cool, we got a bit of a push there. How much of a push? You may ask. We had about a 13-14% push in the after hours, coming in with lower highs in the open. So the question becomes, whenever I see something like that happen, I ask the question, is it too far, too fast? Right? We've been running up into this action. Now, I don't know the stock. I'm not too familiar with the news, but in terms of just price action, you can tell like it's holding up pretty well. Short term, yeah, we've sold off of this news right now, but it seems like it's been liking the structure hold and build up for the past couple of weeks, a couple of months at the very least here on ZIM. I kind of want to go to a monthly here as well and see how that's been building up. There you go. You can see this as well. We had a nice little push, I guess, post-COVID run on ZIM. Again, it's a familiar stock, but I'm not too familiar with their, I guess, necessarily their ins and outs in their day-to-day kind of business as well. But you can see here, nice little breakout on the monthly. If we hold this, maybe those 26s, 26 halves are on watch as well. So that's what I got for ZIM.
So.
Interesting chart structure that is stepping up.
I know your affinity for sports, so I'm gonna have to tell you about
Go Sports.
So in the pre-market yesterday when we started the show, we showed a video of DK Metcalf, the Steelers wide receiver, and he kind of grabbed a fan and then punched at him. I don't know if he clocked him. In any event, so people were like, pardon me?
A little unprofessional.
A little unprofessional, well said. So people were like, okay, he's gonna get slapped with a fine, and everybody kind of knew that. So listen to this, so that 2-game suspension that he's gonna serve is gonna cost him $500,000, but that's not the bad thing. It also voids more than $40 million in future guaranteed money in his contract with the Steelers. That's being reported by CBS. It also voids more than $40 million in future guaranteed money in his contract with the Steelers per Jonathan Jones, NFL of CBS. Because the suspension falls under conduct detrimental language in his deal, it wipes out guarantees tied to any NFL suspension. That includes his fully guaranteed $25 million salary for 2026 and injury protections tied to 2027 that were worth another $20 million. He can still earn every dollar if he plays, but the security is gone. Metcalf is appealing, but even a reduction to 1 game would still trigger the same clause and void the guarantees. That's crazy. So that's the difference between the guaranteed contracts and having to play every game. He doesn't actually, per se, void it, but if he doesn't play those games, he doesn't get the guaranteed money. And that's part of the beauty of getting a guaranteed contract in the NFL, because not all of them are guaranteed.
That's crazy. I mean, sure, that's a hefty fine. That's a hefty hit to take. But it's like, at the end of the day, look, I don't watch sports, but you're a professional. You're a professional athlete. You have to act accordingly.
You have to act accordingly.
You have a responsibility, right? You have a fiduciary responsibility.
Right, I like it.
Right? To act accordingly and have some sort of emotional intelligence and emotional balance.
Right.
Control. And if a player is not going to exhibit that,
it's to pay. I'm assuming the union is going to step in
find
at
out.
some point. The players' union, they're not going to take this lying down. That's just my gut instinct. All right, guys, let's go on to the next story. Instacart halt. Remember, we gave you this story that Instacart, some of the products. So, say you went to, I don't know what store you guys have there. Let's just say Whole Foods, and the price in the actual physical store in Whole Foods was $5. You load up the Instacart, same thing for the same store, Whole Foods, even the same location, it's $5.50, but it's not because of the delivery. The price is actually different. You're still gonna have to pay the delivery, you still have to pay everything. So what was being said here was the price was actually a little bit different, and that was raising competition issues. So apparently they're trying to blame it on this Eversight thing. So here's the deal. Instacart announced it will immediately stop allowing AI-driven pricing experiments following the public backlash, of course, and regulatory attention that ensued as a result. Retailers will no longer be able to use Instacart's Eversight technology to test different prices for the same items at the same store. Good thing that they're responding to this pretty quickly, because that's not somewhere where you really want to piss people off with food prices already really, really high at both sides of the border. Instacart acknowledged that pricing discrepancies for identical items undermines customer trust. Yeah, no shit. Especially during heightened grocery inflation. They acquired Instacart, that is, Eversight, for $59 million back in 2022, and they positioned the software as a tool to help retailers optimize pricing while surfacing better deals for consumers. That was the goal. Eversight enabled controlled pricing experiments to study shopper responses to price changes, but those tests are now being discontinued on Instacart's marketplaces. Instacart, that IPO'd, I believe, about a year ago. What do we?
Yeah, I remember
What's your look there, Obe?
Yeah, here's the thing. There's a difference in the price, but Cart isn't the only one kind of doing that, right? If you order something from Uber Eats, the same thing. Whereas, you know, like it's the price is distinctly different. They're charging a premium on the product just for ordering it from the app, which is crazy because like it's just like, and they're not saying that, oh, we're the ones taking this. The product price is distinctly different. So I think this is a game being played by a lot of these companies, and I think that yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily negative in that sense, because that's just how I guess that industry kind of rolls right now. So I don't know if it's negative sentiment as much, but like the chart's been pretty nice since the IPO. One of the few IPOs that have done pretty well here. Let's just go to, you know what? We'll just go to a weekly here. We just go to a weekly. We'll keep it simple. But right. Off of the open, yeah, beautiful swing short. That's great, nice. Like that, yeah, and then you start to actually build some structure and step up. Yeah, it's wide ranges, but stepping up nonetheless. So I think, you know, they're in a good position. They have a good consumer base.
Fair enough.
But I don't necessarily think this is that negative of a news catalyst, right? It's just that's how this industry, I feel, from my own experience, is kind of plays anyways.
Let me tell you, Obe, if I saw that big price variance, it would bug me a little bit. I would be less reluctant to want to rely or trust anything that they put on there. Like, you know, I'd constantly be checking stuff, Obe.
Yeah.
You know, I'd be looking at
checking a couple different markets.
Price on cart. Go maybe on the website for the local supermarket, see what they've got it for. So I don't see it as great for customer trust, and you know, we'll have to wait and see what it does. But Ram's throwing shade about them in the chat. Instacart are scammers, though. Uber's is actually helpful and great, in my opinion. Yeah, that's fair. Machiavelli says, Uber was using AI dynamic pricing for Uber rides in a wealthy neighborhood.
They do that.
The pricing was higher. I have a theory, and it's completely unproven and not supported by data. But I have this theory that gas stations in wealthier neighborhoods or neighborhoods where the household income is of a certain price are a little bit higher, okay? I was trying to gauge. I'm like, okay, if I go, you know, over into this neighborhood in the city, it's still the same. Okay, so you could say property taxes and everything would be very similar. You get like 10 pennies lower per liter. I know American friends are gallons, but we're liters. And then you come into another, you know, more upscale neighborhood. Oh, but it's 10 cents more expensive. I have no idea why is there a price variance there. So I can completely see the company basing the price on some sort of income distribution or some sort of wealth gauge. I don't think that would be completely novel.
They do it in different scenarios as well, right? It's just like you'll notice when the weather is kind of bad, the Uber price goes up. When the time of day is, you know, time of day, think about it. When you're out, maybe you want to take an Uber at like 2, 3, 4 a.m., it's distinctly different taking the same ride in the middle of the day.
Well, for sure.
Even if you see that there are so many more drivers sometimes out at night because they know there's going to be people out.
I think
It's just like, okay, you know that game is being played regardless. So like, I don't disagree with you for sure. I believe that they can have that discrepancy. It's well within range of the kind of business that they run in their business tactics that they use. It's within range. It wouldn't be out of you know, out of question for them to do something like that. And yeah, so gas stations for sure. Yeah, I've noticed that as well. The discrepancy is kind of crazy. So some gas stations, you know, just even within like within the neighborhood, yeah, you just go, you know, across the street, and it's distinctly different. So some people definitely will see there's a long
kilometers.
Yeah, you see a lineup on one
city or anything.
Yeah, exactly. A couple kilometers later, a couple blocks down, you'll see that the price. It could be the same gas station, right? It could be a Shell on one side and the Shell on the other side.
Yeah.
Distinctly different pricing. So it's just like that game definitely is played.
Cost of location says Co-LE Romeo.
Yeah, so,
I thought about that as well. I mentioned
more
that
to be there.
Yeah, look.
Because
I see what you're saying. If you're talking about different cities, I'm
Government
literally
makes
talking
money
about
on
a
the
couple
gas.
of kilometers. Real estate tax would be the same. Cost of employment, labor costs are going to be the same. So same fixed costs. I'm assuming, given the proximity of these gas stations, you had a fundamentally different price. I mean, we're kind of digressing, but yeah, that happens a lot in Texas, says Yannick. Darth Trader says property taxes are higher. I just addressed that. It's the same property taxes. Machiavelli says I can prove it with one gas station up near Greenwich, Connecticut, $7. What? That's insane. That can't, $7.90 for a gallon of premium? Oh man, yeah, I'm definitely going to want to move to Connecticut. Let's go on to the next story. Nike reaffirmed as a turnaround play despite near-term pressure. Nike absolutely dropped off a cliff in the last earnings report. But today, Jefferies naming Nike a top pick, top sector pick, I should say, for 26, citing confidence in the management's turnaround strategy. We'll have to see how the new dude does. Analysts believe sales have likely bottomed, setting the stage for stabilization and eventually recovery after a difficult demand cycle. I don't think he's addressing China here, and that's why we sold off. Let's keep reading this. Jefferies highlighted Nike's global brand strength, yeah, save and except for China, bro, which continued to resonate across a broad consumer base despite macro headwinds. They expect sector winners in 2026 to be companies with tight inventory control and flexible supply chains, which allows margins to recover without aggressive discounting. To be fair to Nike, they did say that in the last report. They didn't have a lot of markdowns. It was more of a China story. Nike was singled out for actively clearing excess inventory and addressing tariff-related inefficiencies that weighed on margins over the past year. What else does he say? Operational fixes viewed as structurally positive. Nike did beat earnings, as I mentioned in the last report, but the report was overshadowed by weak China sales and softer forward guidance. China remains a key problem area, goes the analyst. In contrast, North American trends are improving, with Jefferies and the club pointing to more sustained profit growth for the region. So let's see what Nike has been up to since the earnings, the very bad earnings report there. Let's just take a quick look here, Fabian, at that. Daily, what do we got? Yeah, we're still putting in lower lows, so I'm not touching this thing quite yet. Now, I could be convinced to get into Nike, but look at this multi-year downtrend, Ob. Like, this is the daily.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at.
It's just a symphony of lower highs. This is the weekly. I know you're all about that weekly life. Look at the nastiness from the pandemic highs. This is where Papa Powell said inflation wasn't transitory. Ob, since that Papa Powell meeting, we're down 68% on Nike. It's lost almost 70% of its value. If you're a long-term holder in this, you're I don't know, man, you're punching the wall. This is ugly. Yes. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Can you give us a quick look here while I set up
so I think a good factor of confluence here is that this chart, when you look at it, is an upside down check mark. No, I'm joking. But the downtrend is definitely very much there. Funny that you drew that line, because I have a very similar kind of a trend line here that's coming in, maybe not on this frame. That's why it's kind of skewed a little differently, but let's turn this off. But yeah, no, it's trend to the downside, and it's getting beaten down. So any sort of news that's been coming out, it just keeps getting slapped to the downside. We talked about this a couple of days ago about how, you know, the shoe game is not the same anymore.
No,
so
it's not.
I think that's something to consider as well. And I did have this name on watch. There was strong sellers there yesterday as well. But yeah, that's what I got for Nike.
All right, Ob, I got to tell them, new traders, listen up, and Ozan in specific, although he's not new. The first month, it is absolutely free. That's right, we're waiving all the fees so you can trade smarter, not harder, by upgrading to that elite experience that'll help you analyze, strategize, and then you'll capitalize on their platform. That has everything. We're talking about infinite data and instant trading. We're talking about lightning fast market insights and game-changing charts. And you can predict better with their backtesting tool. I know everybody wants to do backtesting now. You get reliable, you get real-time data, and you get global markets, Katina, man, at the tips of your fingers. It is an all-in-one platform, so you better not miss out. Execute your best trades now. Ready to elevate your trading, Ram? Scan that non-existent QR code on the screen for
Right there. What do you mean?
Guys,
Well,
look,
yeah.
it's right there.
My bad, it's right there. Trade smarter, not harder. Scan that QR code now or click the link in the description of the video. Shout out to eSignal. There he is. There's my man, Ozan. I knew you'd like that eSignal ad read. Let's go on to the next story. Starbucks also getting a bit of an analysis today. They entered a critical stretch in January, so it reads this article, with earnings on the January 28th, followed by Investor Day on the 29th, according to our friends at Morgan Stanley. Their analysts expect these events to provide clear long-term growth visibility, including the potential here for a multi-year guidance through fiscal 2028. I don't know why they're thinking that they were going to get multi-year guidance. What do they know that we don't know? Management commentary is likely, according to the Morgan people, to reset expectations after a period of uneven execution and margin pressure. And here's what they're expecting. Morgan Stanley sees a potential for fiscal 2028 EPS, wow, they're really going to guide down the road, to be $3.50 to $4. That would be broadly in line with the current estimates of the street at $3.51, but with upside optionality if execution improves. So it'll have to be maybe some of the comments there. The firm believes, Morgan that is, that Investor Day could mark a narrative inflection point, especially if Starbucks outlines credible paths to sustain traffic growth and margin recovery. The analysts did trim their near-term estimate due to higher labor and cost of goods pressure, which remains, according to them, a drag on profitability. They cut their fiscal Q1 EPS estimate, Morgan Stanley did, on Starbucks, from 63 pennies down to 56, and they reduced their fiscal 2026 forecast from 252 down to 224. Starbucks has been, it's been interesting.
Yeah.
It's been interesting. What do you make of this?
I think, again, I was watching this stock this morning.
Bless you,
some very program selling coming in yesterday as well. But yeah, I don't know, things are definitely changing on the stock and the price action kind of coming in here as well. Again, we talk about a higher time frame look. We talk about this one being in a bit of a range, just choppy range. It's not really going anywhere. Sure, there's good news, sometimes there's bad news.
Holy,
but this thing has been stuck.
You're not
Dude, this
wrong
has
about
been
that at
stuck
all.
since COVID. That was the
Jeez.
COVID drop. And then we stepped up a little bit on top of that, and we couldn't even get that high off of some of those highs. Yeah, sure, 86s to 114s, 30% run. Yeah, that's pretty solid. But since then, just sideways chop. So it's not really getting anywhere in terms of a higher time frame look there. But yeah, maybe we just play the multi-year range when it does come in. But yeah, some of this news, yeah, it just we have bouts of bad news which take it to the low of the range, and maybe we have some good news, some couple good earnings that take it to the high, and it's just stuck in this range between, what is this, 115s, we'll call it 110s,
right,
conservatively down to 70, 69, 70s. So yeah, so a couple multiple year ranges, yeah, about a little bit of a, yeah, maybe 6, 7. Well, there you go.
Don't be rude.
All right, Adara, give us your take here on the Brian Nickel turnaround.
I think, yeah, my thing actually has to do with the man you just mentioned, Brian Nickel. Now, I know I have spoken to this ad nauseum, basically to anyone who will listen. I do not think that he is the right CEO for Starbucks. And I have a couple of reasons for that. I mean, I'm not saying that obviously he did good things for Chipotle, but I do think a little bit, I think he's in it for the show. And I say that because one of his most memorable moments near the end of his tenure at Chipotle was that thing where, we had these analysts going in, they were weighing the Chipotle bowls. They were like, hey, Brian, the bowls are so inconsistently weighed. And he said, you can just go up to the Chipotle, go up to your, whatever, their version of a barista, and give them a little, and then this video went semi-viral. Right, so I think he does like the attention a bit. I also say that because once he became the CEO of Starbucks, he said, we're gonna get 200,000 Sharpies and we're gonna make sure everybody's writing on the cups. And I will say, as someone who goes to Starbucks on a semi-regular basis, they're writing on the cups, but that's not making my drinks faster. That is not solving the issues with the company that are driving people away from the company in the first place. So I do think that he has ideas. I just don't think they're the right ideas for turnaround for the business. And as Obi mentioned, the stock clearly needs some kind of catalyst. I think there is some turnaround needed. I was looking at this, I think about a year after he came, or a year after his tenure began, the stock was flat. He has done nothing good or bad for the stock. The stock is just staying range bound. Now, obviously, he's better for the stock and the company than Laxman Narasimhan. That was his predecessor. But, I don't know. I just think that we have a lot of work to do. And I think it's pretty sad that we just have that one guy coming in serving 3 terms, and he's better for the CEO than anyone else, or he's better for the company as CEO than anyone else they're able to find. Bit of a rough look here for Brian Nickel and I think for SBUX. I'm not saying out and out like that we need to change CEOs right now. I don't think constant turnover is a good look either, Intel. But I think there needs to be some kind of change. Something's got to give. Shout out to that movie. So, and I don't think that Brian Nickel, as it stands currently, unless we make a change, unless he stops worrying about the Sharpies, I think this company's still going to be in trouble.
Thank you very much for that. Yeah, my take on Starbucks is automation will be the game changer in the same way that automation will be the game changer for Uber in that it'll be insanely margin expanding. I hate to put it so crudely, but with the rise of unionization, I feel, with the baristas, that's obviously a very big headwind for the company, both in terms of operational efficiency as well as margins as labor costs continue to go up if they negotiate higher salaries. So if you're looking from an investment perspective and not really a human perspective, you're looking to remove your biggest fixed cost. And the biggest fixed cost for them, I'm assuming, is obviously the product and the labor. And so if you can get automation, you hit two birds with one stone. You increase efficiency, you drop down fixed costs, and you don't have to worry about this green apron service model, which is their basically attempt to speed up service. Now, I know they've made some improvements there, but if you really, really want to make improvements, it's going to have to be automation, I feel. And I know for a fact that they are exploring this type of thing. Now, they're trying to keep it super hush-hush because it's not a good look. It's not a good look for the company when you're talking about mass layoffs. It's that in the same way that we're seeing these AI CEOs speak one way about job loss in public, and they're speaking about job loss an entirely different way in private. And then you can see, you know, some stuff leak out about how they really feel. So at the end of the day, if this company really wants to change its way, it's going to have to change the way it operates. That's kind of how I see it.
Yeah, no, I think that automation is almost inevitable, right? Excuse me. One day we're gonna have you know, robo baristas. Maybe it's an Optimist. Maybe it's something else.
Yeah,
but definitely, best believe that latte is going to be consistent. That's for sure.
Oh wow! All right, good. Yeah, it's 2 o'clock, and the big boys, they are locked, they are loaded, they're ready to go, and I'll see everybody shortly on the big desk. Guys, it is a shortened trading day tomorrow. The market closes at 1. We're going to be up bright and early, 8 a.m. like we always are, and then the big boys, you and I are going to be on for an hour, then the big boys will take it over, and they'll shut down. They'll shut it down into 1 o'clock. So we'll see everybody tomorrow, and thank you for being on.
Great show. Take it easy, guys. See you